Very sound career as a left-handed pitcher in the big leagues for several teams. Here's his lineup tonight. Jody Garrett, who at one point was a Rockies farmhand, he's in center field leading things off. Then the veteran David Eckstein at second base. Brian Giles, Adrian Gonzalez, who hit a 458-foot home run yesterday. Chase Headley, a switch-hitting young player, top prospect, in fact, in the San Diego chain. Kevin Kuzminoff from Evergreen, Colorado. Nick Hundley, Luis Rodriguez at shortstop, and 6'10" Chris Young. As we take a look at the Fidelity scouting report on Jason Hamill. Well, this is his first start, George.
Yeah, and a lot to say about him, as you saw in the open with his numbers, where he likes to go with his fastball and his curveball. His last start, you look all the way back. And again, it was at Baltimore. Not very happy with that start. Obviously, it worked very hard through the season, in spring training, I should say, to prepare for this moment. Wants to impress the Rockies with it.
So Hamill set to go. Jody Garrett in somewhat of an outfield platoon with Scott Hairston. He plays against righties, and Scott Hairston is swinging the bat well, plays more against lefties. San Diego had a 9-3 start to their season. They've lost 5 of their last 6, including 8-3 yesterday at home to Pittsburgh. On the ground, and Todd Helton grabs it. He'll beat Garrett to the bag. Good start for Jason Hamill.
What do you look for? And then take a look at the defense tonight the Rockies have behind Hamill first, very quickly, Drew.
Yeah, in the outfield, Dexter Fowler is out there again. 4th straight start, 9 of the last 10. Ryan Spilborgh's in left, Brad Hopp, of course, in right. Atkins, Barmes at short for Tulowitzki. Stewart at second. Todd Helton at first, and Chris Iannetta has the equipment on.
Well, there's only been 4 players that have had an extensive look whatsoever at Mr. Hamill, so I think the second and third time through is going to be huge for him.
Well, it really is. I mean, as a hitter, you've never seen this guy before. You want to go up there, try to find out where that arm slot's coming from, how the ball is moving, all that other stuff. So that's what the Padres hitters are going to go back to the dugout and tell their compadre what's really happened.
Good pickup and a nice release from Clint Barmes as he throws out David Eckstein. I like this. 4 pitches, 2 outs.
There's nothing like it. You start getting a lot of ground ball outs. As we look at the Bernardo keys to this ball game, I think here one big thing, as a player, I don't care what you've been playing, and weather's going to play a factor. Tonight it's extremely cold out as far as catching the ball, throwing the ball, hitting the baseball. First start for Hamill here. I'm sure he wants to impress everybody. It's very important to that. Backside of the bullpen's got to do a better job.
That pitch is down low to Brian Giles. We've seen Giles lead off frequently in a San Diego uniform. When he was with the Pirates, this is where he hit in the 3-hole. Bud Black kind of shuffles him around a little bit with the pickup last year of Garrett, who was able to move Giles back down, and Brian comes through with a line single to right. And I'm sure that is music to Brian Giles' ears. He's off to a slow start, certainly by his standards.
Well, he's such a good hitter, and it's surprising when you look at his numbers, hitting 169 before that at bat. That's just not Brian Giles-like, but to me, he's in a perfect position now because he's hitting in front of Adrian Gonzalez. So you got the guy in front of you at David Eckstein that can get on base, and then for Giles, that's a perfect spot for him.
So here's Adrian at 323 with 7 home runs and 15 RBIs. He's one shy of the club record for home runs in April. And he's one of the guys that owns the record. I think of all the home runs he loses playing at Petco, particularly out there in deep right center field. Good off-speed pitch.
Well, he could easily be a 40 home run guy if he wasn't hitting in Petco half the time.
He's always balanced at the plate. He has a great approach, and he's a terrific two-way player because he has as soft a pair of hands as you will find at first base.
Yeah, and amazingly, you and I were talking about it, 2 errors already on the season. That was surprising for me at him at first base.
I guess so, George. He might end up with 3.
Yeah, there's a good chance of that. You're absolutely right.
But he is. I mean, he's so underrated because he plays in San Diego. Think about if he played in Philadelphia, New York, Boston, the type of media attention he would get, and everybody would know him from coast to coast.
Well, think about this. Last year he had 36 home runs, drove in 119 at Petco. And you've heard us say this so many times when the Rockies are playing out there. It is hard to score at Petco. It's hard to hit the ball out.
Yep. Great place to pitch, though.
Wonderful place. I mean, Frazier starts.
You just keep the. Well, I was sinker ball. I didn't care about that. I mean, it's sinker ball, but you just want to keep the ball to the bigger part of the ballpark. Now, their ballpark is big into the gaps. Coors Field's big in the gaps, but obviously you got to put altitude into the equation, and that's why they get a few more runs scored in.
0-2 on Adrian Gonzalez. 2 outs, Giles at first, and Hamill flips over. You know, Jason Hamill is really geeked up for this start. And that's what he perceives himself to be, a starting pitcher. Last year he made 5 starts with Tampa, and then Scott Kazmir came off the disabled list, and he was pushed back to a bullpen role, a long role.
Well, a guy that's had success at the minor leagues in one role, and it will seem that, you know, put him in the bullpen because stuff's nasty or for whatever reason he can get punch outs. They always want that opportunity at the big league level that they've been afforded at the minor league level. You know, if he's getting 30 starts, 32 starts at a minor league level, he wants his shot, not 5 starts here or 3 starts there. He wants that opportunity just to see, for your own self, see what you can do. It's like a guy that's a utility player, like you were, that you played that whole time. Give me 200 at bats. Let me see what I do with 200 at bats.
Let me try to be an everyday player.
Let me just see if I can do it.
Yep.
Adrian has an 8-game hitting streak going. He had an 8-game hitting streak earlier in the season. That pitch is up high. He's hitting 16 of the 18 ball games for San Diego. He has reached base in all 18. He never comes out. Last year he played all 162. 2007 he played 161.
Yeah, you need that anchor in that lineup, and he's a pretty good anchor to have because you know you can put him in the 4 slot every single game.
And I like what Hamill's doing with this at bat. It was a changeup down. That was a fastball he pulled, and all of a sudden he threw a curveball into the dirt, and he tried to elevate a fastball up into the zone. He didn't go after it. And then he comes back with a pretty good fastball at 91 to get the fly ball.
A very nice and efficient start for Jason Hamill. Giles and little else. A couple of quick outs. Then he got Adrian Gonzalez on a 1-2 pitch to fly to Dexter Fowler. Let's take a look at Clint Hurdle's lineup tonight. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Dexter Fowler at 286 will be leading things off. Ryan Spilborghs is behind him. Then Todd Helton, Garrett Atkins. There's what we were talking about in the open. Garrett's had some success against Chris Young. Brad Hopp and Ian Stewart, a pair of lefties. Clint Barmas at short, batting in the 7 hole. And Chris Iannetta and pitcher Hamill. Well, fellas, Dexter Fowler, as you look at Chris Young, has forced his way into the lineup on a regular basis now.
Rightfully so. I mean, just the way he's gone about his business at the top of the lineup, seeing a lot of pitches, getting on base. And he provides a spark and excitement when he comes up here because he's got the speed to do a lot of different things.
4 out of 5 in stolen bases. Top that off, too, to get you a stolen base at times. Yesterday, tried to steal third base a couple of times, finally nailed it at third base.
2-strike count. Down low. I'm going to ask you this, George, and I've asked you this countless times in the past. We see other tall pitchers in baseball. Not too many 6'10", but we saw John Roushey 6'11". He's had success, obviously. why is this guy able to pitch up in the zone at basically 86, 87? Here's a base hit. And that's really what he averages. It's almost below average fastball in terms of velocity, and more guys swing and miss.
Because they're working underneath the baseball. You're not working on top of the baseball. It's hard to get on top of a ball. It's kind of like the dessert tray. It all looks good. None of it's good for you. Well, if you look at this overall, 5-1 in his career, 329 earned run average. He's pitched well out on the road, 22-11 out on the road for the Padres, which this year he has struggled on the road.
Yeah, well, that and the Fidelity scouting report shows as much right there. But the two things for me for Chris Young is, we talked about it, you got to get the ball down because he provides a unique window to see where that ball's coming from as a hitter.
Dexter got a big jump. No chance for Nick Hundley. He wouldn't have had a chance if he caught and pulled that cleaner.
And that was going to be my second point, is he's very easy to steal on because of the high leg kick. I mean, you're 6'10". You can't get to the plate that quickly. And that's the other thing. And from the Hyundai cam, we'll be able to see even the ball down. Hundley knew that, hey, I got to try to get rid of it. He has not thrown out a runner all year. Now he's 0 for 12. So couple those two things together, he stood no chance.
So not only is he slow with his leg kick, his upper body's slow to deliver the ball to the plate till he gets up on top and gets ready to finish it off.
Foul back by Spilborghs. It is 1-1 on Ryan.
Well, Young's pitched well in this ballpark. I mean, it's the earned run average around 420, but a 3-1 overall record when he's done it.
Now, the Rockies have only beaten him that one time. He's 5-1 overall with a 328 against Colorado. Graduate of Princeton. He was a basketball star also.
I want to ask you something real quick. I mean, I just looked up and noticed this. You got Spilborghs up at the plate, who likes to take the ball to the right side, can't take the ball to the right side. But because of the scouting and the spring training about hitters giving themselves up, moving runners over, with a right-handed hitter up, and I look out at shortstop, and I see Rodriguez make the big move to hold. Look at the hole on the left side.
I know, but
if you got any back control whatsoever,
it's very difficult to do. Against a softer throwing guy, maybe not the guy that elevates the ball.
This ball sliced foul.
But the reason I say that is it because of what we've made, when I say we, I said the Rockies have made such a huge emphasis of a fundamental baseball, moving the ball to the right side, because a lot of times guys in big leagues can handle the bat a little bit.
Well, I understand that, but with the elevated fastball, it's really hard because you got to really concentrate on getting on top of the ball to be able to pull it, and if you don't, you hit that fly ball, you don't get him over to third.
But if he gets into a breaking ball situation like he is now, in a 2-2 count, a lot of times
might be a different story. Well, you're just protected now.
See how far over he was? I mean, you throw a breaking ball, you leave it in the middle half of the plate. I mean, it's an easy given for the guy.
Righties really struggle against Chris Young. 189 last year. And of course, it was about a half a season worth of work for Chris. Got hit in late May. Scary moment. Line drive off the bat of Albert Pujols. He had to have surgery and was out a couple of months. And then he was on the disabled list with a forearm strain later on in the year. That bounces up there. And it's 3-2. Nobody out. Dexter Fowler at second base, a single and a stolen base. Dex now 5 of 6 swiping bases. Down low, good at bat for Spilborghs. 2 on now for Todd Helton. Let's take a look at the defensive alignment tonight behind Chris Young. Chase Headley is in left field. Jody Garrett's in center. Brian Giles in right. Kevin Kuzminoff at third. Luis Rodriguez at shortstop. David Eckstein at second. Adrian Gonzalez at first. And Nick Hundley is behind the plate. So here's Todd, who has struggled in his matchups against Chris Young. Helton, just a 208 hitter, 5 for 24, no home runs, a couple of RBIs against Chris Young.
Already you can see the type of attention that Dexter Fowler is gaining out, not only for the Padres but the league now, that people are starting to say, hey, we got to make sure we keep this guy close to the base at second. Don't let him get a walking lead over there but now he's starting to divert the attention from the pitcher and the guy at the plate.
Well, we have a new little thing going tonight. It's called Houston and Frazier's Focus, or lack thereof, depending on how the evening unfolds.
or whose focus it is.
Right.
But really what it is, we're going to talk about Chris Young and the high fastball and see how many guys actually get that ball up in the zone somewhere at the belt or a little bit higher, and they swing and miss or foul it off.
Runners going, and they'll try to get Spilborghs at second. He's underneath that tag. So a double steal. The Rockies have 3 bags here in the the bottom of the first against Chris Young.
And that was that elevated fastball to Todd Helton, and again a pretty good pitch to throw on, and it's not surprising that he went after the back runner. I really felt he would do, because even with a left-handed bat up, too big of a jump. On the Hyundai cam, you'll see the tag coming into second base, and he just gets a hand underneath the glove. But with a left-handed hitter up, I still felt that he'd go down to try to go to second base to get the back runner. And the only reason I say that, a lot of times, and I don't know if you ever did this year, you get a double steal going. This guy on first base doesn't run quite as hard. He's thinking you're going to third base with a lot of time.
Yeah, the other thing, too, is you want to make sure as a guy at first base that guy at second actually goes. So you're a half beat behind when you take off for second base.
We've seen Chris Iannetta in the last week throw 2 trail runners out.
Yep.
So you better, to George's point, you better be moving if you're the back runner. This ball's hit well to center field. Garrett going back, still going back, leaps and makes the catch. Fowler will jog home. Spilborghs rounds third on the tag up and stops there. So Todd gives it a ride, and the Rockies lead 1-0 on a 415-foot sac fly.
Well, this is what you want out of a hitter when you got second and third, nobody out. The Hyundai cam, we talked about the high fastball. Well, there is one. That was not a swing and a miss. He was able to stay through the ball enough that he hit it to deep center field. And boy, did this ball just keep going and going and going. Jody Garrett goes back for it and has to leap up. Great base running from Ryan Spilborghs to go back and tag up. Now get into scoring position for Garrett Atkins.
Good point. And Atkins rips one down the left field line. 2-0 Colorado. Spilborghs comes home. Atkins will go to second with a double. George, he's the guy you highlighted, the one guy that's had a little bit of success against Chris Young.
Well, 3 home runs and a .280 average against Young, but the offense got started with the leadoff base hit, and then all of a sudden you get a double steal. You get men into scoring position, a fly ball, a single could score with that type of speed, and that's exactly what you ended up with. A ball to the middle half, not anywhere where they wanted the pitch. They wanted it down and away from Atkins. He just opened the front side up, turned, drives it down into the corner. Spilly comes in to score. Very quickly, a 2-0 ball game.
And here's Brad Hopp. And Brad ropes one. Diving catch made by Eckstein. They won't get the double play. That saved a run right there. David Eckstein, most of his big league career spent at shortstop. And now playing second base.
Well, it's all about the jump. I mean, he's down in a great fielding position. And the thing for a second baseman and a shortstop that you have over a first and third baseman is you can gauge where the pitch is going as it's in mid-flight. So you can start to lean a little bit. And that's exactly what David Eckstein did, was leaning when Brad Hopp swung the bat. That allowed him to dive for the baseball and make the line drive catch.
Well, plus you got a little more real estate to wait on the ball to get there.
Yep.
You're not 90 feet away.
Here's Ian Stewart. That's inside on Stewart. Fans, feed your Rockies fever at Taco Bell. If the Rockies score 7 or more runs during tonight's ball game or any ball game, go to Taco Bell between 4 and 6 the next day. Feed your fever with 4 tacos for $1 with the purchase of a drink. That is a steal. Stewart got tied up 1-1. Already in this ball game, we've seen more quality hacks than some nights you see against Chris Young for 6 or 7 innings.
Well, you really have. I mean, that was just one there that Ian Stewart just got out. Wasn't expecting the off-speed pitch from Chris Young. But you think back to all of them: Dexter Fowler, Ryan Spilborghs taking the walk, and of course Todd and then Garrett. I mean, a lot of quality approaches so far.
This is popped up. Eckstein and Adrian Gonzalez converging, and it'll be the first baseman. In the inning, the Rockies get a pair of runs against a guy who doesn't relinquish many. 2-0 Rockies. Three stolen bases in the inning. That's how they played this spring. They were aggressive. They manufactured runs. The Todd Helton sac fly, timely hit from Atkins, the double down the left field line. Good start. And Jason Hamill had a good start. 11 pitches in the first inning, 8 strikes. And that pitch just misses to Chase Headley. I may start calling the Padres the San Diego, Colorado Padres. And here's why. There's a reason. Ooh, this ball's hit well right center field by Headley, and it'll be tracked down by Dexter Fowler, who gets everything. Well, here's why we're going to call them the San Diego, Colorado Padres. Chase Headley, who just hit, is from Fountain Fort Carson High School.
Right.
Went to the University of Pacific and then the University of Tennessee to finish his college career. The guy who's coming up right now, Kevin Kuzminoff, from Evergreen. And then a lot of people don't realize this. Nick Hundley, when his dad was an assistant football coach at the University of Colorado, went to Boulder Fairview for a time. He actually graduated high school in Washington once his dad moved on. And Jody Garrett was a Rockies farmhand until he was traded to Cleveland, where he became a solid player.
Well, then Darryl Ackersfeld, Mesa State.
Mesa State and Columbine High School.
Yep.
And he's in the bullpen. So it's on and on. A lot of connections.
A lot of connections.
And Brian Giles likes to vacation in Colorado.
Oh, boy, you're stretching now. Hey, hold on a second. So you count all the guys, too, that just had a vacation here? That's worth it.
You have to have multiple.
Why not?
0-2 on Kuzminoff outside. 1-2.
Well, one thing Jason Hamill has done is work quick. You love that when a guy does that. When he works quick, fires strikes, gets right after it. Defense loves it. Hitters hate it.
Oh, I love it as a defender playing. We talked about this before. You know, Steve Traxel, how slow he is, and it just feels like you fall asleep in between every pitch. Get the ball, go, have an idea what you want to do, and your defense is going to play better behind you.
Good pitch right there. Boy, George, that may have been the changeup.
There's a good one, too. The bottom dropped right out of it.
First strikeout of the ball game. Kuzminoff gone. 2 outs. Nick Hundley will come up. Let's get it down to Mark Stout with tonight's Mike Shaw auto update. Mark.
Thank you, Drew. Let's learn a little bit about Jason Hamill, the Rockies pitcher. He went to high school in the Seattle metropolitan area and was scouted by the Mariners and the Rockies. Decided not to sign with Seattle, who drafted him. What he did was go to Treasure Valley Community College, which is in eastern Oregon, in Ontario, Oregon. In fact, his head coach, Rick Bauman, and the staff are watching our game tonight. Now, when he was there, even though he's 6'6", he didn't play basketball, but he did don the costume of the school's mascot, the Chucker Bird. And he did that because he told me he earned $10 a game, and when you're a college student, you'll take anything. It's pizza money. But he did that and played baseball at Treasure Valley Community College in Oregon. Guys?
I thought maybe he lost the dare.
I mean, two thoughts on that, Mark. You did way too much research. Well done. Secondly, I thought Treasure Valley, I thought that was a casino in Vegas.
Yeah, I had no idea where it was until Mark told me earlier before the ball game.
Did he go? Yes, he did. Phil Cuzzy at first base making the call. Chad Fairchild's behind home plate. We didn't identify Chad. Jerry Crawford is the crew chief. Jerry's at second base. And at third base, who's another veteran umpire, Tom Hallion. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Jason Hamill, the mascot on the hill, and he misses 3 and 2.
Might be his new nickname.
He's big enough he can play dinner in a pinch.
He's probably thinking a lot of guys in the locker room when he watches a replay of this ball game tomorrow, because that's what a lot of pitchers do. They go back and watch it, chart it, tape it, see what they did right, see what they did wrong, and he's going to hear the mascot story and he's going to go, thanks.
Well, he'll never talk to Stout again. We're not the ones who brought it up. This ball is hit to the gap in left center field. It's hit well. It's going to run to the wall. Extra bases for Nick Hundley. So a 2-out double for Hundley. Second hit allowed by Hamill.
Watch where this pitch comes in at. It's a fastball they wanted on the outer half. Again, a little bit of a mistake made here. As you look on the Hyundai cam, watch Iannetta's glove run back. When you run back that far and you miss and the ball's up into the strike zone, it becomes a pretty flat pitch to hit.
That's exactly what happened to Hundley. That ball goes right back into the sweet spot of that bat. If it goes outside, it's a rollover 6-3 ground ball. You're out of the inning.
This is a guy you really want to get for numerous reasons. Runner in scoring position. Also, you can start the next inning with the pitcher if you get Luis Rodriguez. That pitch is outside.
That's exactly what Chris is going out there to talk to him about. Say, hey, make sure you have an idea of what you want to do here, how you want to pitch the guy, you want to work him in. You've already gone over the game plan in the locker room before the game. At the same time, you realize that the pitcher's on deck. It's a very difficult spot to be in as a hitter.
Well, I think the other side you go out is tell a guy to finish an inning. You got 2 outs. Finish the inning. Regardless of what, who's up and where you are in the lineup, finish the inning. Finish strong with it. That's where you get in trouble as a pitcher. Drive a pitch count up really quick. Didn't see the changeup an awful lot coming out of the bullpen because obviously you're coming with some heat on. I mean, you got to come with your best 2 pitches. That's why you don't see a lot of guys that come out of the bullpen, unless it's a split finger, a trick pitch.
Now behind 2-0, they'll just go ahead and walk him. Do you like that, George? I mean, 2-0?
Well, you're down. When you're behind 2-0 in this situation, the kid, you don't know a lot about Rodriguez.
Yep.
I mean, he's got a home run. He's got 6 RBIs. You got a 2-0 lead. You struggle to win ball games. There's a lot of reasons that says do it, and there's one that says don't. The one don't is, let's start with the pitcher in the next inning, confidence to get the 8-hole hitter out. There's a reason he's hitting it. Obviously, you don't like it.
No, I understand the reasoning behind it.
You know what? If it's Casey Blake of the Dodgers who hits in the 8-hole, I'm passing on him.
Yeah.
With all due respect to Luis Rodriguez, it does make you pause, but he fell behind 2-0. Chris Young is no slouch. He's 3 for 9 this year.
Well, the other side of that is, too, where are you in the ball game? Meaning, what inning are you in? Where are you working? You know what I mean? You're in the first, second inning of the ball game with a 2-0 lead. And I understand why you do it. And that's why, when I say all the reasons why, there's like 6 why you would do it, and 1 don't. Where'd you get that coat anyway? Did you borrow that from Hamill in between innings or something?
The one I'm wearing? It would fit Hamill. Keith Schultz kindly said, I don't want you to freeze tonight.
You begged. And I don't blame you.
Schultz keeps one for me right behind his door. It's the smallest one he has, and the arms now are only like 8 inches too long for him. This ball's hit pretty well. Fowler, who's going to have to come hard and make the catch. Good job by Dexter. Chris Young flies out. There we go. Thank you. 2-0 Colorado. Told the best way to save time and money. Padres the next couple of ball games, and then the Rockies will travel Thursday late in the day to the Bay Area, San Francisco for 3, and then the Padres for a 2-game set Monday and Tuesday. That's your E470 road ahead. Drew Goodman, Jeff Hewson, George Frazier, Mark Stout from the ballpark tonight. Clint Barmes out of the 7-hole will lead it off against Chris Young.
Well, we talked about Young's numbers in the beginning of the show at 2-0, very good earned run average, 342. But you take and start to dissect some things. He's had trouble against San Francisco. He had to, I should say, the 2 starts against San Francisco, he was very good. Dodgers and Phillies, it wasn't so pretty. 838 earned run average.
Yeah, and 7 earned runs against the Phillies. 3 2/3 inning.
High in the air, deep left field, way back near the wall. It is hauled in by Chase Headley.
Why is the ball carrying on this cold temperatures? I mean, I'm trying to look at flags. I'm trying to see where a wind tunnel is out there. I mean, I don't see a lot of wind blowing.
Yeah, I think about the one that Todd Helton hit. That ball just kept going, and then this one from Clint Barmes.
And he's way out on his front foot when he hits this thing. It's not like he had set on the back leg and drove it. I mean, and it just carried, and the play made right up against the wall by Headley.
That'll bring up Chris Iannetta. And he stays off the high fastball. That's the one that entices you.
Oh, it looks like a big old beach ball coming up there, George. You just want to go ahead and swing. It looks so good. Can't do anything with it, though.
No, it's his plan is to throw the ball at the hands and above. It's very difficult. You're not going to get on top of it.
No, I've heard
it. And the ball looks so much harder. Even though it's 85, 86, it still looks 90, 92 to a hitter. It appears that way.
Yeah, the guys call it the stealth fastball.
That's right.
Stealth because it comes in there. You think you got it, and then, oh, where'd it go?
It's a good description.
Yeah.
3-0 on Iannetta. He drew a walk and scored a run yesterday. Came around on a Spilborgh's 2-run home run. Everybody in the Rockies lineup scored yesterday, 1 through 9. Jason Marquis included. Jason threw out another hit. He's hitting 500. Sacrifice. The only guy who didn't score was Jeff Baker. He drove in 3 with a bases loaded triple. So Iannetta will go to first with 1 out. That'll bring up Hamel.
But he walked to, when this ball gets out here, this is exactly what Jeff's talking about. I mean, this is the area he's trying to ride the ball into, and even a little bit higher up on that lower bar to try to get you to work on top of the baseball. Then all you got to do is throw the ball up on top. You see this ball's tracking as it comes through. It's coming through right at the hand level where he wants to go with it.
3 times on that at bat. He laid off it, and that's why he drew the walk. And that ball that Jason just tried to bunt there, it's the same ball that Chris just laid off for ball 4. Now, granted, this is his first opportunity to see some live pitching, but that's even the ball that you have to try to lay down. I mean, that's right up by the letters.
Well, the only difference, he's 6'6", Ionetta is 5'11".
Well, I understand that, but it still hits letters.
Well, it's an avenue of the game that he has just not got to experience a lot, swinging a bat. That has not happened for Mr. Hamill, and it's something he's going to kind of work in progress, as Clint likes to call it. Well, Rockies fans, let's stay up to date with the season. This season, with all of baseball, you can do it with team text alerts and video alerts for your mobile phone. So go to text Get Rockies 65246 to sign up now, or visit MLB.com/mobile.
Hamill will get a third try at it. Now pulls it back, slug bunt.
Interesting there. And the reason I say interesting is because the guy, as George mentioned, has not handled the bat. The last thing you wanted him to do is just swing the bat and hit into a double play.
All right, I'm defending him. He's 1 for 1 with an RBI.
Well, okay, I understand that.
I'm defending him. He's a pitcher. I'm going to defend him.
Wait,
yeah, Guzman also had, what are you nuts? What are you doing? You see him come creeping in. All right, you're going to bunt. I got it. Timeout. You know, every time I see something like this go on, what I think of is how Pete Rose used to just walk in. And he would literally be 8 or 10 feet from home plate at the third baseline, just daring a pitcher. Go ahead, bunt it. I'm right here. Go ahead. I dare you. And on AstroTurf, folks, it was very hard to pull it off on a sacrifice when Rose was at third base.
Well, this is his first at bat, so he's got to go down and personally be told by Richie Dower what's on. You know what? I know he looked at that pitch and he was swinging there. That slug bunt. I think they put the bunt back on.
Yeah,
because that's the smartest play here.
Yep.
Or the slug bunt. And that's the double play. That's the danger you run into.
Yeah, and that's why you don't take it off.
2-0 Colorado. 2 innings complete at Coors Field. When it comes to your water heater, 120 is the magic number. Overheating your water beyond 120 degrees can be wasteful and unsafe. Learn more energy facts at responsiblebynature.com. And our fun fact brought to you by Excel Energy. Yesterday, Adrian Gonzalez hit a 458-foot home run at Petco, the longest in the park's history. Russell Branyan and Andrew Jones each hit a 453-foot home run at Petco back in 2006. Again, all of that brought to you by Excel Energy. Jody Garrett will lead it off against Jason Hamill in the third.
There comes that second time through the lineup, George. It's all hitters look at, see how a pitcher's going to pitch him differently this time.
Jody Garrett, first time up, it surprised me. He swung at the second pitch, and he snapped a ground ball to Todd Helton. It surprised me he went that early. I thought maybe he'd be a little more patient, try to wait back on it, and get something.
You know, Doug Marino and I were just discussing. Remember Will Venable last year, who was real impressive when he called up Max's son?
Where is he?
Well, I was saying, man, he must be hurt, because I figured he'd be on this club. He didn't make the club. He's in Portland, and this ball is a fair ball down the line. Jody Garrett's going to have at least 2, and you know what? Well, for a second, I thought he was going to go for 3. He stops at second with a lead double.
I want to see what this pitch was, because I thought they tried to bring it to the inner half of the plate, and they did, but it was more up on the Hyundai cam. You can see, Jeff, where that ball started to run back to the middle of the plate. And again, you let a guy extend like this, it looks like he's cheating on the fastball an awful lot.
Exactly. That's what he tried to do the first time up, ended up grounding out to Todd. This time he was able to hook it a little bit more, get it past the diving Todd Helton over at first base. Fine play from Brad Hopp down in the corner, though, because that had the markings of trying to circle and snake back around that wall down there.
David Eckstein at the plate. That snapped an 0 for 16 slide for Garrett. Good pitch, Eckstein trying to move the ball to the right side. 0-1.
Well, that's what I was talking about with Brad Hopp. You got to play the ball off the wall, and you know it's closing in on you a little bit. And if that ball gets by you, that has a chance to be an inside the Parker.
Well, you got to make the decision. Either go cut it off before it gets deep into the wall, if you think you can speed-wise, or you got to lay back and let it run to it.
Yep.
I learned something about David Eckstein today in chatting with him that I didn't realize. You remember for so many years as a shortstop, and now he's playing second base. Bud Black said, that's why he signed with the Padres. He wants to play second, figures it'll extract a couple, 3 more years out of his career. And David said until he was with the Angels and there was an injury to Gary DiSarcina, Huey, who you played with, he was a second baseman. They had a need. They were going to send him down to AAA to learn how to play short. And they said, we're going to do it under fire at the big league level. So he became a shortstop, even though his arm has always been, pardon the pun, a little bit short.
Well, it is a lot short to play shortstop, but he had enough guts and guile just to get the ball over there and make the plays. But that just shows you what kind of athlete he is, though. I mean, I enjoy watching this young man because of his size, because a lot of people wrote him off because, he doesn't have this, he doesn't have that. He's just a winner.
Well, the thing I like about watching him play is his fundamentals. He's fundamentally sound. That's why the shortness of the arm doesn't really matter, because he feels so cleanly and he gets rid of it so quickly. It makes up for the loss of the arm strength he has at shortstop. I like what he's tried to do here. And the curveball just ate him alive, but all he tried to do is get everything he swung at was to the right side. He was tardy on a couple of fastballs, couldn't keep him in fair territory, and then he got a yellow hammer that nobody wants anything to do with. Right out of the glove, there it is. He just flipped it. Now, in the Hyundai cam, folks, you're going to look at this grip. It's almost that C grip on the baseball, and then just that hard pull out front and roll it forward, the thumb up on top, and pull that bottom half of the baseball down.
That buckled the knees.
That's why I'm laughing, because it brings back nightmares for me, George.
See, I used to like that. When you buckle a guy's knee on a 1-2 count, I was pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Some nights when they had a really good yellow hammer, I'd throw it right at their head and just let it go to the outside corner. Enjoy it.
Well, the Red Sox staying hot. They've won 10 in a row. Looks like it could be 11, leading in Cleveland 3-0 in the ninth. Brian Giles, with one of the best eyes in baseball, takes it to 2-0. Giles ripped a single to right his first time up. Last year he hit over 300, first time since 2001. Broken bat, one hopper to the second baseman Ian Stewart.
A little bit of sink on it at the end. That didn't cause Giles to hit it right off the end of the bat.
90 miles an hour, but what set it up was the soft changeup at 83 away with the same exact action on the baseball, and he comes right back with the hard sink.
Those are no fun on these cool nights. Go back, you've got those bee stings in your fingers.
By the way, Giles, his average really down, 169, but he's hitting 269 with runners in scoring position, so he is getting a few base hits when it matters.
Here's Adrian Gonzalez, and that fastball just above the belt. And you say, wait a second, I thought it's the knees to the letters. No, that's what it is in the umpire guide, but in reality, it's the knees to the belt.
That's the way it should be.
I laugh at everybody on some things when I see this, because everybody gripes when you get a pitch called a strike above the belt.
Well, you've just been conditioned to it now.
Everybody's conditioned to it. Remember when they tried to change the strike zone, was it 4 or 5 years ago, and they told all the umpires, move the strike zone up, do this, do that. As soon as they started to move it up and call strikes, there were so many arguments. They were like, I'm not doing this anymore. This isn't any fun.
Here's the 1-1. Chad Fairchild said it was in. 2 balls and a strike on Adrian Gonzalez with a fly ball to Dexter Fowler his first time up. Adrian's on base percentage this year, .436. I got another one for you on Gonzalez. Since the beginning of the 2007 season, last 2+ years, he has driven in 17% of their runs.
That's an amazing number. Right? I mean, and you think about this as an opposing manager, there's always one guy you're not going to let beat you, and it's Adrian Gonzalez, yet he still goes out there and drives in runs. That's the amazing part about it.
And a breaking ball in the outside corner, and it's 3-2.
And it's not going to give in a fastball count. There's no reason to. For me, if you walk him, you walk him. But I want to make him hit my pitch, and he may have got a little bit of a high slider call for a strike. But I'm just going to make them beat me.
Good change up here, George.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's one thing you could go to.
That's what he went to, and he missed. Ball 4.
But see, to me, that doesn't hurt anything.
Nope.
It really doesn't, because I mean, nothing at all. Honestly, nothing against Headley. He's a great hitter, and he got a base hit. He hit a fly ball to center field his first time up. The guy at first is showing me over the course of time what he could do.
Yep.
So for me, I don't care what inning it's in. If you're confident in your stuff and you feel like you can get the next hitter, it doesn't bother me to walk the guy.
No. Those are 2 pretty good first basemen there.
Yeah.
And Headley takes a strike. Fastball's been sitting right about 90, 91. He's getting movement, though. He's getting sink.
Yeah, he's getting sink on the baseball. When he's had to ride it up, he's hit 92 a couple of times on a ball in on the left-handers. It's been up in the strike zone. I mean, the key to me, guys like Hamill that can pitch effectively 88, 87 to 91, and put some sink on the ball and put in everything into the mix. The changeup, the curveball, and the slider. That when you get in a position that you need to go get the 93, it's there.
I've just been impressed so far. I mean, his first start. Now, his command around the zone. Yeah, he's gotten hit a couple times since he left the ball up, but he's been able to throw 3 or 4 quality pitches. And it's not, if he misses, it's not like he's missing by a huge margin.
Well, three strikeouts in the ball game, 2 flyouts, 3 ground ball outs.
He's thrown his whole repertoire.
And why not? You got it. Use it.
Here's the 0-2. He dropped down a little bit. Hard breaking ball handled by Iannetta.
Well, and the other thing, too, for Jason, as you think about this first start, probably only going to throw right around the 80 pitch mark, somewhere in there, and hope to get 5 innings out of him.
Well, the good part about it, he got stretched out 3 starts at the end of spring training. Now, how far is stretched out? They said 6 innings. Some guys may throw 65 pitches in 6 innings. They may throw 85 pitches. You don't know how many he got stretched out to.
The problem, that was 3.5, 4 weeks ago, and how much your side
Absolutely.
work.
No question.
You just can't duplicate what you.
Well, you can't do the side work because you're in the bullpen.
Yeah.
You don't know if you're going to get a call to come in and give yourself 2 innings, 1 inning, whatever it is. I've always felt the middle to long guys in the National League are really hindered because you're only going to get an inning and a third, 2 1/3 if the lineup falls right before they pinch hit for you. When you look over in the American League, you see a starter get knocked out in the 2nd inning. Somebody goes 5 innings, 6 innings, 7 innings.
That's why what we saw the other day from Joe Torre, when his bullpen was short, Ramon Troncoso picking up 4 innings was most unusual.
Well, 4 innings, 1 hit, but he looked at it from a point, what else was he going to go to?
Yeah.
He was handcuffed sitting in the dugout. He had nowhere to go.
Yeah, especially on the plus side. You just don't see that in the National League.
Right, and with an opportunity that inning before to add a couple more runs.
Well, I don't know what the ball strike ratio was that day.
This one is dropped in the left field, and it's going to get past Ryan Spilborghs. And that is going to end up tying up the baseball game. Adrian Gonzalez comes around all the way to third. Is Chase Headley. A sinking line drive. Spilborghs laid out, thinking he could make the catch. It would have ended the inning. And it got underneath him and rolled all the way toward the warning track. And it's all even at 2 apiece.
Well, he made the pitch he needed to make to get out of this inning. He jammed the guy. The ball's up in front. Decision made by Spilly right here. Go get the ball, or do I stay back and take it on a hop and give up 1 run?
It looked like
I think he got out no man's land and didn't have a choice of what to do, and he ended up diving for the baseball.
Exactly. It's like, oh, do I really want to go after it and dive? If I do and it gets by me, it goes back to the wall, and he did, got caught in between, and it didn't work out.
You know, he was there to make the catch. Yeah. It wasn't as if the ball dropped before the glove. It almost looked like the ball dropped next to the glove.
Well, and that's when he went after, it wasn't really a slide to go get it or a straight out dive where he's parallel to the ground.
And that is a clean base hit from Kuzminoff. And just like that, it seems strange. San Diego has a 3-2 lead. Now, Bud Black said something to me earlier that I think sums up the 09 Padres. He said, you know, we have some good pitching, obviously, with Young and Peavy. He said, I like our guy in the 9th inning, Heath Bell. George was bragging on him earlier today. He said, we have enough offense. We have a great offense, but we need the Kuzminoffs, the Headleys, you know, the Jody Garretts, the Scott Hairstons to have good years.
Well, and so far, that's what they're doing. I mean, this inning, you think about this, there's 2 outs, and now all these runs have been scored with 2 outs.
Well, and I think, too, Jeff, the other thing that plays a factor in it is this guy right here, Ted Simmons. He's been a winner his entire career as a general manager, as a player, as a coach. And he left Milwaukee last year when Ned Yost was fired. They tried to get him to take the manager's job. He came over back to San Diego, where he worked as a special assistant to Kevin Towers. And he and Bud Black go back together. And I tell you, he's a positive influence on a lot of the young kids. And you know what? How much fun is it when everybody's looking at you in baseball as you're the bad news bear?
Yeah.
You know, they're going to lose 100. You walk out with a little chip on your shoulder, and you know what? Nobody expects anything out of us.
Yeah, with the young team, too. You get off to a good start, it just keeps rolling.
Well, I'll tell you what a lot of young players could do, because I've been in that situation with Minnesota, is they can energize an older player.
Yep.
Young players can energize an older player in about the way you play the game.
Nick Hundley reaches.
Are these hops any fun?
No, they're not. I mean, you have to make a decision. Do I drop step? Do I try to come and get it? And my feeling is I'd like to try to come get the baseball. And that way, if I do knock it down, at least I have a little bit of momentum going towards first base. But you kind of get locked up there. You don't know what to do. Do I drop? Do I come and go get it? Garrett just got caught in between and tried to knock it down and pick it up and throw him out.
In the second hop, you're going to pick more velocity up out of the hop.
Yeah.
And that's what it looked like there. A lot of top hand to it. And just got a hold of it.
Luis Rodriguez at the plate. He takes ball 1. Two outs. Jody Garrett was at second base. Actually moved to third on a fielder's choice. And then Gonzalez walked. This ball's pulled foul. Chase Headley hit a sinking line drive that Ryan Spilborghs laid out for. Unfortunately, it got past him for a 2-run triple, and then the single behind that by Kevin Kuzminoff, and just like that is 3-2 San Diego.
Drew, you mentioned earlier how quick he had worked through the first couple of innings against the Padres, giving up a hit and a walk and another hit in the first. But you look at that, 11 pitches in the first, 20, and then it's been a steady climb. Second and third time through this lineup, you and I talked about it, what it would be like, the adjustments you make, the adjustments the hitter makes.
Well, and the other thing, too, from a hitter standpoint, is when you go out and you see all the pitches your first time up. From a pitcher, you see all 3 or 4 pitches. Now you know how they all break, where they're going to end up, and that sort of thing. So the second, third time, that's what we're talking about. The more information you have, the better equipped you are to handle the at-bat.
Center field, Fowler coming on, and that one drops in front of him. That'll score another run. It's 4-2 as Kuzminoff scores. Luis Rodriguez with his 6th RBI, and now with Chris Young coming up, the Padres have quietly, if there is such a thing, hit around here in the 3rd inning.
Quietly, I mean, just having to look at my book to see that, and that has happened. But a pitch that works out over the middle part of the plate, and he just stays on that ball. And fortunately for Dexter, he was able to just snag that ball, because that had the markings of scooting by and going to the fence.
Boy, it really did. And I think that's something that the way the ball carried early in this game, too. Guys are playing a little bit deeper. Now they're going to shorten up, obviously, with the pitcher up. But they shorten up a little bit into the outfield, or play a little bit deeper, I should say. Makes it a little more difficult to come in on those tighter balls.
One 1-0 on Chris Young. Here, fly ball to center, his first at bat.
Big donkey could swing the bat.
Oh, he can a little bit.
You ever noticed how fat guys and tall guys can swing the bat? Seriously, you go to high school. I look at great big guys and watch them swing the bat. They can't run, but they can swing the bat.
They can hit.
They can flat hit.
Well, who are you thinking of there?
Roger Freed. Roger Freed played here.
I was thinking of Matt Stairs.
Matt Stairs, another guy. They could swing the bat.
I was thinking of Kruk.
Kruk could swing the bat too.
Here's the 1-1.
Roger Freed was all world here. Randy Bass was a big man. He was all world.
Very big man.
Saw Randy hit one. I thought he was going to hit the Stallion over my line one night. It's like, heads up, horse, you got it incoming.
A legend in Japan. Here's the 1-2.
Legend in Lawton, Oklahoma, where he's at now, the big ranch. He's one of those guys. He went over there and he had Triple Crown. He did everything in Japan and didn't want to come back here and play. He had opportunities, just didn't want to do it.
You know who was a big man who Denver Zephyr fans will remember? He almost hit one out of Mile High Stadium. Also, that's Joey Meyer.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the 2-2, and it's run full 3-2. I think Hamill's been rattled a bit since that ball to left field.
I'd agree with
the
you.
error by Atkins. I mean,
it's that attitude of what's going to go wrong next versus what's not going to go wrong. You know what I mean?
I mean, he had it going. And all of a sudden, he looks up on the scoreboard. There's a crooked number. He's got to get Young here.
Was that 4 foul balls? Right? Is that 4 foul balls, Doug? 3 or 4 foul balls? You're guessing.
Well, now the pitch count, George, enters in. It's
Absolutely,
67 pitches.
Absolutely,
on a guy
that's what I'm getting to allude to. The pitcher, you can't finish him off with that hard hook or slider.
This ball's hit well. Spilborg's coming on. Will make the catch. In the inning, the Padres send all 9 to the plate. They score 4 times. 4-2, San Diego.
To you by Dex. Hall of Famer Roger Hornsby was born today in Winters, Texas. And if you know anything about Hornsby, he had some kind of a career. .358 batting average, second all-time to Ty Cobb. Two-time Triple Crown winner. Only he and Ted Williams were able to do that. His first name, an interesting one, Rogers, his mother's maiden name. And he's a distant relative of Bruce Hornsby, who is the musician. So, happy 113th birthday to the Hall of Famer. Drew?
Bruce Hornsby in the range. You know what you told me about him today, Mark, that I did not realize? In 1962, the inaugural season of the New York Mets, he was their hitting coach. You didn't know that, did you, Jim?
No, I didn't.
Unfortunately, he was gone the next year. Passed away in '63. That's up high. 2 balls and a strike. Dexter single his first time up. Take a look at our Firestone leaderboard. Rookie hit leaders, Dexter Fowler. He's going to be atop the charts all season long, something tells me. Outside, Dexter is on for the second time. Doug Marino wanted to get in one more note on the Rogers Hornsby thing and Bruce Hornsby being a distant relative. George, I know you realized this. I did not. That Bruce Hornsby, for a while, played with Jerry Garcia and the Dead. That would be the Grateful Dead, George.
I did not know that.
I was able to take batting practice with Bruce Hornsby one time.
Did you really?
Yes. He's a friend of Mark Langston's. We were playing in Dodger Stadium when I was with the Expos. Came and took batting practice with us.
I thought you were going to tell me you took BP with the late Jerry Garcia, and I thought that would be interesting.
No, Bruce Hornsby.
Okay. Could he play a little bit? Good musician?
No, he's a good musician.
Okay.
Yeah. Look for Dexter to maybe take off again. Heck, with the high leg kick of Young.
Well, they have 9 stolen bases against Chris Young already this year, and he hasn't thrown anybody out, and he almost threw that to the backstop on a pitch out.
Well, now Bud Black has a tough decision to make. Pitch out again, back-to-back pitch outs.
I don't think he's shown enough confidence for me to throw strikes consistently to pull it off again.
Well, I don't think.
I wonder if Teddy Simmons is running the running game as former catcher, if Bud Black's running it.
Well, Dexter, I'm going to go ahead and take off because I don't think they will.
You know, Young for a big man has pretty good feet, and then you think back, well, hold on a second. Played hoop at Princeton. He's a very good athlete.
Holding game.
He did a good job,
yeah,
too.
He did. I mean, he was 1.53 to the plate on that one.
That's slow.
That is slow, but he held him up enough, long enough to lock Dexter up over at first base.
See, timing into it all as a base runner, too, though, is that if just what Jeff's talking about, locking him up. Hold the ball. You don't have to go immediately, but if you get in a pattern of drop your hands and go immediately, obviously it's going to play into the role of how much time you have to steal the bat.
But you know what, pitchers,
here's something I want to show you. Here's something I want to show too that does this. See, go ahead and let's stop it. See how he drops his hands? Everything comes down to the bottom. Then they come back up, and then he goes to the plate. That just takes that much more time versus having his hands either set at the waist or a little bit higher where he could just take the hand out, and then he could continue to have the same leg kick. But because of all the movement, it slows everything else down.
You know, I noticed too, pitchers are predictable. After they hold, what do they do the next time?
They go pretty quick.
They go quick.
Yeah, they just don't. They don't like to wait over there because, I mean, George, you know better than I, but just scouting pitchers and studying pitchers as a base stealer, they like to get rid of the ball within 1 to 1.5 seconds once they come set. Those are the quick feet you were talking about, Drew.
But you got to have the quick feet. But if you don't have a quick hand out of the glove, it doesn't do you any good. I mean, you got to shorten up like you turn into double play like a catcher. If you don't do that, then you're not. The quick feet don't do you any good at all.
Dex is going. Another big jump. Strikeout at the plate, and a stolen base for Fowler. So Dexter with his 7th stolen base, his 3rd tonight. Spielborg's on the check swing, went around. That is the first out.
Well, 1.43 seconds to the plate for Chris Young. And you get the strikeout, but then the throw from Hundley wasn't very good. It was a little over 2 flat. So the combination of those two, he could be stealing bases all night long.
I forget what the combination was last year. And you know, again, Clint Hurl and his staff, they did their homework. And the Rockies, I mean, everybody was taken off. It wasn't just Willie Taveras or Matt Holliday. I mean, everybody. They sold about 6, 7 bags that game.
Was that against Chicago when Willie had 5? The White Sox? I'm trying to think. He had 5 stolen bases in that game. Didn't score a run, though.
Yeah, that's hard to do. 1-0 on Helt. Willie in Cincinnati playing for the Reds now. Poor Nick Hundley, because it's not all about the catcher.
No. Now he's 0 for 15 on the year.
I mean, there have been some great pitchers that could care less if these guys stole bases on him. Greg Maddux, who just retired.
But you got to have the backup ability to get the strikeout or a ground ball out, keep the ball on the ground versus letting it get elevated.
George,
see, I'm under the theory that if you don't, and I always have been, you can be quick to the plate, but it better be balanced, and you better have everything in control and the arm slot where it should be, and everything else that follows to allow you to complete the pitch to get the hitter. If you don't get the hitter, I don't care how many bases they steal, they're going to score a lot of runs either way. Your focus has to be at home plate, not out at second base. And as guys get pulled away from it, and I was guilty of it, you get Ricky Anderson at first base. I mean, what are you going to think about? You're going to think about Ricky Anderson.
Sure.
You know, but it's certain guys that you don't, you know, you go ahead, and particularly when you're working in the middle of the lineup, because if you make a mistake on Helton or Atkins, they're going to make you pay for it.
Dexter going to third, high throw, and he's got his 4th stolen base. And Huey, you made a wonderful observation yesterday when he got thrown out. The only time he's been thrown out all year. He was at third. He didn't get a walking lead. You know what? He didn't get a walking lead here really either.
No, he didn't, but at least he had his feet moving. Yesterday he was completely locked down. That time his feet were moving ever so slightly. Still not the best jump that you could get. He could get a little bit more of a walking lead, but he's such a phenomenal athlete. He just outran the baseball.
George, to your point of a couple moments ago, Chris Young has been a 50-50 proposition tonight, balls and strikes.
That's the whole thing. I mean, if you're not able to have that, you know, pound the strike zone with what you're doing, then you're going to end up getting hurt. Now, he's winning the ball game, obviously, 4-2. He's also gone into the windup, the run of going over to third base. You know, I looked at that play, and I look at it with a left-handed batter. I personally don't like it, trying to steal third base with a left-handed batter. It's a wide open throw.
Right.
And I'll say this. I think if the throw that time would have been on the bag, he's out.
Yeah.
But it was a high throw because there's no distraction. For me personally, I understand you got to take gambles every now and then, but for me personally, that's typically not a high percentage play.
As odd as he's prone to do, spraying souvenirs throughout the ballpark. A couple on the left side, a couple on the right side.
You know, I mean, he feels good about it. He feels good about it for all the fans that pay to come watch the ball game.
And this is a fact. Todd, since 2002, has more foul balls than any other player in the game.
Here, than any other game. Than anybody else.
Anybody else? I counted. No, there's services that do that.
There you
There's
go.
another one.
So that's the only service they give you? Is how many foul balls a player hits?
George, you can look it up on baseballreference.com.
I love that.
Hey, Kay, would you look it up on
baseballreference.com?
That's a great site.
Wonderful site. If you're a
like
sabermetrician or a nerd like us. Another 2-2. And the strikeout of Helt. You can see how upset Todd was. He spiked the bat.
Well, runner in scoring position.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what you get paid to do. They're more of a hard slider. It almost looked like a cutter versus a curveball that he typically throws when he's ahead. You know, Todd very disappointed, not able to get the run into the plate.
I thought he kind of missed a spot, too, seeing where Hundley set up outside, trying to go backdoor slider, over-rotated just a little bit, buried it to the backside.
You rarely see that kind of reaction from Helton. Atkins will try to pick him up, and he will. Rolls one through the left side for Garrett Atkins, his second RBI. Fowler comes around, and it's a 4-3 ball game.
Well, Chris Young made a lot of mistakes here. One was the leadoff walk to Dexter Fowler. The ability for him to steal a couple of bases. Then this fastball is up into the zone. I mean, you could take a look at it on the Hyundai cam. It's up, but he's on top of the baseball. Watch how he goes down, up to stay on top of it, and then just drove it through the left side. I mean, that's a great job of hitting by Garrett Atkins. Well, he's the one guy in the lineup, hit 280 against him coming in. He had 3 home runs. And hit the ball hard off of him. He's hit it hard twice here. So's this guy at the plate. Remember the line drive he hit right at Eckstein that he made a dive for to catch? He scalded that ball.
He did. Of course, these two guys know each other well. Chris Young is from Dallas, from Highland Park High School. Same high school as Clayton Kershaw, who we saw yesterday with the Dodgers. Brad from Fort Worth. They played on a travel team together growing up. And, you know, that's back when Brad pitched also.
How about that? One day you get Chris Young, maybe even a doubleheader.
Yeah.
Chris Young, Brad Hopp right after that.
Not good for the other team.
How'd you do today? Went over.
Up high, 2-1.
Well, that's kind of the neat thing now. That's the transformation of these traveling teams that happen in the summertime. You typically jump on them your junior and senior year to get college notice or whatever. But it's a select group of guys. And then all of a sudden you get into pro ball and you see a lot of those same guys that you competed against or competed with.
3 balls and a strike. We're in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Rockies got 2 in the first. They've added 1 here in the bottom of the 3rd. 4 runs in the top of the 3rd for the Padres. 4-3 is where we stand. Atkins a real conservative lead at first. And ball 4. So Hopp goes to first. That'll push Garrett to second. And Ian Stewart will get his second look at Chris Young. How about this? 4 walks by Young.
Well, it just shows you the patience tonight and the game plan and being able to execute it. You can talk all you want about laying off the high fastball. You can do all the figuring that you want as a hitting coach, as a guy stepping into that box, but it all comes down to execution and setting your sights lower, and so far the Rockies have done that.
Stewart popped up to Adrian Gonzalez his first time. Breaking pitch. He doesn't throw a ton of those. Misses 1-0.
The other thing I like about this inning too is after 4 runs were scored in the top half, you answer just at least with 1, possibly more, and with 2 outs. I think those 2 things together are very important.
Way outside, 2-0. That'll get Hundley to the mound. Stewart's trying to shake loose from a little 0-for-9 slide. 2 outs and 2 on. And we'll tell you that if your windshield is chipped or cracked, don't wait. Call Colorado's #1 team, Elite Safelite Auto Glass, 303-287-5000, or visit safelight.com.
Start to look. Excuse me, Drew. What I got to say, you start to look at this, and you can see right where Stewart's at, right up on top of the plate. So, what you hope is a guy tries to run the pitch in here. Now you're going to go down and away with it again, but he got it up into the strike zone. Here, there's another swung, but it's going to get up into the seats. He doesn't even know where it is. Everybody's looking around everywhere. He couldn't see it up into the sky. But the point is, you see a guy crowding the plate as a pitcher, you think, all right, velocity, I'm going to run it in on the hands. That's actually where he wants the baseball. See where this pitch is? Look on the Hyundai cam how high up this is. And what happens with a little bit of a drop of the back shoulder and working under the baseball, you pop the ball up.
Especially for a left-handed hitter.
I mean, you're playing it right into the hands of Young when you do this.
3 balls and a strike. Clint Barmas is on deck.
They'll try to go back inside again.
Well, 3-1 count. If it is, I mean, he seems spread out so much.
Well, I don't know about that.
That was a borderline strike.
And it ran back, too. Caught at the catcher's mask. May have got the call. See, I caught that, and then an automatic turn down of the hand.
Full count, runners will be off. This ball driven to right. Giles will leap, and he can't catch it. 2 runs are going to score. Rocky's going to retake the lead on a double by Ian Stewart. That reminded me of the ball Baker hit yesterday. It just froze the outfielder.
Yeah, it really did. We saw it from Matt Kemp in center field yesterday, and this one from Brian Giles. Looks like he might even taken a step in on this baseball.
Well, I think he did. I think he just took the step in, thinking it's going to be a humpback liner, and it continued to ride up into the air.
And right now,
first is taken in, and then it was like, uh-oh, I can't get enough recovery time to get back after this.
The difference, though, for Ian Stewart is the one he fouled back earlier in that at-bat was up. Chris Young had to bring that ball down, got the base hit.
Rockies have turned it into a 3-run inning. Barnes down the line, foul.
I want to see what this pitch was that he jerked, because they set up way inside again on the pitch, and see if it runs back to the middle or if it stayed in. See, this ball runs back almost out here to the outer half of the plate, which becomes the middle of the plate to Ian Stewart because he's standing so close to the plate. You can see it on the Hyundai cam. See that ball? Look at the sweet spot.
And the other location, too, at the thigh.
Yep. What could be one of those nights at the old ball yard, boys? One of those 19-18 games? I've got looks from both of you guys. Drew rolled his forehand back.
No, but here's honestly, here's what I think Hamill has thrown the ball well. If he can regather his thoughts and get back to the way he's thrown, with the exception of a few hitters in that last inning, which was a really strange inning. I think Jason Hamill's throwing the ball well. He's throwing the ball better than Chris Young.
Yeah, he has, and the only thing that may bite him is the pitch count. You know, if he because his pitch count's up, what, 75 pitches right now? What is it, Dougie? Hey, Doug.
Yeah, it's elevated after that last inning, George. It's somewhere in that neighborhood. 68 for
68
Hamill.
pitches for Hamill in the ball game. So, I mean, how much farther are you going to let him go? I mean, he's kind of rotating it around a little bit. Bullpen's in decent shape to absorb some of the innings.
Runner going, and that's a freebie for Ian Stewart. Didn't even look back there. Rockies are stealing like this is an 8-year-old Little League game.
6 stolen bases in the game now? Yeah, 6 stolen bases in the ball game. 66 pitches in the game, 37 strikes for Young. Well, he's pretty frustrated himself. I mean, he gave up 2 in the first. The club puts him on top 4-2. He comes right back here with an opportunity to maybe get out of an inning that turns into a 3-run inning for him. And he's behind in the game, ahead of Barmes. Now the count's even. I always like it when trip twos are on the board. Drew always shakes his head at that. It's a baseball thing.
I never shake my head at anything
just did.
you said.
You just
George
did.
says?
You just did.
2-2, trip twos. Now it's 3-2. There goes your full house, Frazier. Well, they've had to get Edwin Moreno up. Here's the 3-2. Line drive left field. That'll drop. Rockies get another run. Clint Barnes comes through his 8th RBI. It's 6-4. This is not what Bud Black was looking for when he sent his big right-hander to the hill, and Darren Balsley will have to go out.
Oh, it wasn't a bad pitch from Chris Young. It was a slider.
Yeah, but you know what? I'd still say I think you do. I really think you do Barmes some favors when you do this. He gets out in front, but his hands, he gets so much plate coverage. When you look on a Hyundai cam, how far out in front and fooled he is by this pitch. But look at those eyes. Yep. Never left the baseball. Everything he's watching, and when his hands are back, I mean, it looks very unorthodox, the swing, but there's contact made. No, it doesn't. Hey, you don't have to be pretty to have a lot of success. And obviously, I mean, with that swing right there, you look at it and you go, would you teach that? Probably not. But the one thing you would teach that he does well is his hands are back and his eyes never leave the baseball.
You are correct. That's why he was able to hit it. Barmes takes off on the first pitch. He's in 7 stolen bases. Now Doug's heading to the media guide. It ties the club record, and we are in the 3rd inning.
Talk about getting a jump. I mean, there was no doubt that as soon as Clint got over to first base, that starter's pistol was up and says, on your mark, get set, let's go. And now the Padres are going to have to intentionally walk Chris Iannetta like the Rockies did earlier.
Let me correct something. It ties a record for stolen bases in an inning with 4. Rockies have 7 bags tonight. The team record is 10, set back in 1998 in a ball game against the Dodgers. 96 against the Dodgers.
Well, you know what? If Chris Young stays out there much longer, I think they got a pretty good shot at getting that one.
Now the Rockies have hit around in their half of the 3rd.
The Rockies tonight with runners in scoring position, 4 for 7, and a lot of that damage this inning, all with 2 outs.
I don't know what's the matter with Dexter Fowler. He's been up twice, a single and a walk. He stole 2nd and 3rd each time. What's the matter with home? Jacoby Ellsbury did it last night.
That was pretty exciting.
That was. He almost got there before the baseball.
Especially against some veteran guys, too.
Well, you had a left-hander.
I know. You had that blind spot back there. You can't see over at
Well,
third
nobody
base.
else got lockjaw. How about somebody helping you out a little bit?
He's
Huh?
going. He's there.
Don't forget it.
Never mind. Misses to Hamel.
Chris Iannetta's got to be a little leery over at first base. Edgar Gonzalez was, or excuse me, Adrian Gonzalez was back picking over there on that last play.
Two balls, 2 strikes, George, with 2 outs. That trip 2's up on the scoreboard.
48 pitches, Doug? 46 pitches this inning. What?
That's a lot. Strike 3 on Hamel. Rockies hit around. They throw up a 4 spot, and they retake the lead 6-4 on Chris Young in San Diego. Garrett Atkins, after a Todd Helton sac fly, would drive home the 2nd run of the ball game. In the 3rd inning with 2 outs, the diving try by Ryan Spilborghs couldn't come up with a Chase Headley drive. That turned into a 2-run triple. That was followed up by a base hit by Kuzminoff. 4 runs that inning, but the Rockies come back. 2-out base knock for Garrett Atkins again to bring home Dexter Fowler. And then look at this drive by Ian Stewart over the head of Brian Giles. That would score a couple of runs, and the Rockies weren't done as Clint Barmas throws one out into left field. A 4-run inning, and you're up to date 6-4. Jason Hamel begins Jody Garrett with a strike.
You know, the 3rd inning was pretty exciting. 8 runs, 7 hits, an error, 4 guys left on, and saw 18 batters.
And a lot of pitches.
Holy cow. You going to give Drew any of the heater? Because I'm getting kind of hot over
My
here.
leg was getting hot.
Yeah, thanks.
You're the one that's got on the trench coat.
I got a polar bear rug on. In the air, right center field, well hit. Fowler going back, and this one is gone into the San Diego bullpen. Jody Garrett with his second home run of the year, and it is a 6-5 ball game. Jody Garrett was the first hitter in the history of Citi Field, and what did he do? He hit one out.
Well, that's what he did on this pitch. A fastball, 88 miles an hour, just misses location. Notice what Chris Iannetta had set up. The Hyundai Cam will show us this ball just splits, and the one thing Garrett does is dive into the plate just a little bit and then really rotates on those hips and got through that baseball.
Pretty strong.
Yeah.
I mean, for a guy, you look at him in center field, he runs well, throws average, but a guy that has a pretty good strength.
Yep. I mean, he was really extended on that.
Yeah.
And he pulled it to right center field. That was impressive. 0-2 on Eckstein.
See, when you look at this, though, Drew, and you start to dissect the guy's swing, see how he loaded? Stop it. I mean, everything gets loaded to that backside before he ever comes through. You know, I mean, everything's timing. I understand that, but he really rocks back and loads, and then when it comes, and it comes with some bat speed.
He's got plenty of energy coming forward. Good for Jody Garrett. You don't want it to happen against the Rockies, but he had a couple of years with all the knee injuries. You thought he may be done. Resurrected his career last year with San Diego. 3-2. Glendon Rush has begun to throw.
The $1 hot dog night's coming up. That's tomorrow night with the Padres in town. Don't forget about that. That's happening. First 10,000 get a $1 coupon for a $1 dog.
It's always a popular night in your household, right, George?
Yeah, popular every night. Shoot is great. Dogs are wonderful. Had one tonight, actually. Yeah, it's pretty good. 10,000 are going to be happy tomorrow. There's going to be all those other like 25,000 that are going to be upset they didn't get here early.
Hamill was ahead of Eckstein 0-2, and he loses them. So now Eckstein, the tying run at first, nobody out. And here comes Clint Hurdle.
Glendon Rush warming up. If he's ready to go, the pitch count's setting at 78. They're probably going to go to 70 if he can get through this inning. It's the fourth. Pitch count's high.
So Hamill goes 3+, and he exits with his club ahead 6-5. He'll give way to Glendon Rush when we return to Coors Field. And a walk to David Eckstein. And now Glendon Rush is out there. This call to the pen is brought to you by Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 1-800-COMCAST. Brian Giles is at the plate. 1-0 on Giles.
mentioned it in the broadcast the other day with Glendon. This is just a role that he relishes. Yeah, he's at that point in his career now where he'll take the baseball whenever, and you got to like that as a manager.
10+ years in the big leagues. He's done a little bit of everything, but you can also come in an opportunity like this. I really think the middle relief of anybody is really dropped down, and the value of what it is to a baseball team, particularly if you have an offensive-minded baseball team like the Rockies, like the Phillies, teams that can throw up big numbers in the game. It's never over. The one thing that people look at it, you're in a 6-5 ball game right now. If Rush can come in and shut this thing down and not allow any more runs to score, obviously you could pick up a win, but you allow your offense to get going again.
Drop down. Don't see that too often from Glendon, but he dropped down on that last throw. Almost came sidearm. Try to get Giles. Here's what I'm talking about, folks. You just don't see that from Glendon and then work it away from the hitter.
Well, you got a couple of guys with 10 years in the big leagues, obviously a lot of history, and again, Rush was with them last spring, got released. The Rockies picked him up. So why not show a little different twist to them?
Two and two on 38-year-old Brian Giles, and he serves this one to center field. This will drop. And going first to third is Eckstein.
Dexter messed the ball up in center field. The nice part about that, though, is not a lot of speed there. He was able to recover and get to the baseball. Watch this swing of Giles. Now, he just dropped down fastball. Look how far he was flinched on this thing. See all of this? Back that up. I want to show this one more time. Watch everything at Giles. Does this look like a good swing?
Nope.
No. I mean, it totally intimidated him because he got the fastball away from a drop-down arm angle. He went back to the drop-down arm angle and rotated that time a slider. And Giles was like, what the heck? And he kind of got out. But that tells you a little bit about his hand control, too, and what he can do with it.
That was been a pretty good tennis shot. A little two-hand backhand drop shot over the net.
It worked. Adrian Gonzalez takes a strike. All-time ranks for the Padres, not quite Mr. Padre. That'll always be Tony Gwynn, was 5th in terms of batting average, runs scored, walks. Pretty good when you consider that he had a pretty distinguished career with the Pirates prior to coming to his hometown.
Yeah, he got to come back and stay and live in his own house all year. Pretty good feeling.
And to be able to play in your hometown. And the guy at the plate is playing in his hometown, Adrian Gonzalez.
Yeah, with his brother.
With his brothers. You get any better for mom and dad?
Hey, you want to go see the game, watch the boys play tonight? Where are they playing? Oh, at Petco.
It's really, your kids are really, really good when you can watch them play in the same ballpark and you're not sitting on metal stands, and there's no chain link fence in front of you.
Or mom's going one place, dad's going the other.
Yeah. And you know what? Not to knock Kevin Towers and his value to judge players and what they do, but you know, the little brother, or big brother, I should say, of Gonzalez, he had a pretty good year last year at second base for the Padres.
Edgar hit a home run yesterday. Yeah, Adrian strikes out here. But Adrian and Edgar, for the second time since playing together with the Padres, both hit home runs yesterday. That's the first out of the inning. Chase Headley will flip around to the right side.
How big would this be to get out of this inning?
It'd be huge. I mean, you're in a 6-5 ball game, and again, like Glendon, get out and get about 3 innings, 2.5 innings in, get you to the 6th inning, 7th inning, and then go to your bullpen and hope it works. Hope it does what it's out there to do.
One ball and one strike on Headley. Two and one. Padres a year ago lost 99 games. That after going 4 straight years, a club record where they were above 500. Bounce to third. I don't know if it's hit hard enough. There's one on the first. Double play. What a throw by Ian Stewart.
And a stretch from Helton.
Yeah, stretch and try to steal the foot off the bag to sell it to Phil Cuzzi. I didn't think they'd be able to turn 2. This ball was not hit very hard. Rockies by a run. Led off in the first, singled and scored after 2 stolen bases. Led off last inning, walked, stole 2 bases and scored. And guess what? He got a base hit the other way, and he's on first. And Chris Young saying, uh-oh. Time to check our Affleck trivia question. It'd be hard to keep Mr. Fowler out of the lineup on an everyday basis, the way he's performed. Adrian and Edgar Gonzalez homered the same game yesterday. Which pair of brothers homered his teammates in the same game the most times? Right now, Adrian Gonzalez looks like he's in Fargo, North Dakota with that hat on.
That cold. All right, is he going?
Not here, but soon.
Well, the problem was he didn't even have his batting gloves or his sliding guard on yet when he's just finishing putting it on. Chris Young said, hurry up, give me the baseball. I'm going to pitch it before he has a chance to get it going.
Not going. And Spilborghs is doing a nice job taking pitches, giving him an opportunity. I know we're having fun with the slide guard, but in all seriousness, you don't want a pitch to go by where you're not prepared to run.
Right, but that's where he needs to make sure that's on there and before he gets out there.
Stretches the lead a little bit more. And he's off. And the ball's dropped by Huntley. It's in his head now. That's 5 stolen bases. 5 stolen bases in the game for Fowler. He had 4 coming in. He's got 9. The Rockies as a team have 8.
Huge jump. Really does. And then all of a sudden Huntley's got no shot. He tried to make the exchange as quick as he possibly could to switch it around to get to the baseball. The ball just didn't stay inside the grip.
The Rockies record, Eric Young, 6 stolen bases in that ball game back in '96 when they stole 10. It's 2-2 as Spilborghs takes. Last year, George alluded to this earlier, Willie Taveras stole 5 in a game against the White Sox. Tommy Goodwin had 4 in a game. 3-2.
Dexter right now is just in Chris Young's head. He's just worrying about him so much out at second base. And when Todd Helton's on deck. But also, if I'm a shortstop, I want to make sure I'm right in Dexter's back pocket. I'm not going to let him get a lead out there.
Well, they're doing a better job now, but
yeah, but you know what? They did that.
They hadn't done. I don't think they really deked them quite a bit.
They haven't enough.
Well, he went around behind once before and did the same thing. If you're going to have him come in and have do a daylight play, throw the ball.
Right.
I mean, you know, you're not doing a whole lot by having him jump off.
Slowly hit. Dex is going to cross in front. Long throw for Rodriguez, and Spilly got up the line. Infield hit for Spilborghs. And that's where, and I don't want to pick on Luis Rodriguez because it was a tough play, but that's where they're missing the true shortstop right now. With injuries, they had the kid there out of the Rockies system, Cabrera, and now they have Rodriguez, who's really more of a second baseman. Arm strength wise, you need a guy like Tulowitzki to make that play.
Yeah, or for Call, who also we saw this week, and those two guys can make that play, but you know, Rodriguez just couldn't make it.
But you're talking about two of the best arms in the game of baseball to go out and make that play too. So I mean, that's not an easy play to make. Hey, Marino's on his way in. Young's on his way out. 6-5 Rockies.
Rockies are still up 6-5. And George, you and I talked about our focus tonight, what it was going to be, and it was going to be Chris Young's high fastball and the Rockies' ability to, one, either lay off it, or two, make him get it down into the zone and do something with it. And tonight they got that high fastball. Yet Todd Helton was able to stay on top of it. Chris Iannetta, the walk, because he laid off that high pitch, and then Garrett Atkins getting on top and hitting it in the zone. That is why the Rockies were successful against Chris Young tonight, and why he's at the shower so early.
That laying off of 5 walks too in the ballgame made a big part of that, laying off that high fastball, trying to force him to get it down. The Rockies with a couple of pretty good hits here. They got an opportunity, an infield single and a slap to left, a stolen base, a runner in scoring position. You're already down 6-5 in the middle of the lineup and a chance to open it up. 9 games that Marino has appeared in. A 1-1 overall, a 1-2 record overall, 279 earned run average.
And Todd rips one to center field for an RBI single. Fowler has scored his 3rd run. Spilborghs to 3rd. Rockies 7 and the Padres 5. For Helton, his 2nd RBI of the night. He's got 11. The kid who's getting high fives in the dugouts had a pretty good night already.
He's really set the table at the top. Wow, Todd Helton to take the first pitch that he sees from Moreno and just drive it right back up the middle. Say, welcome, son. I've done this quite a few times. What a pretty picture of a swing.
Moreno, a 29-year-old from Venezuela. Actually, I made him a couple months older than he is. He'll be 29 in a couple months. Hey, we hit 7. Go to Taco Bell tomorrow between 4 and 6 in the afternoon. 4 tacos for $1 with the purchase of a drink. Thanks to our good friends at Taco Bell. Rockies yesterday with 10 runs. 2 on Atkins. Garrett with a couple of RBI hits, a double in the first, a single in the third. Nobody out, first and third, and Atkins gets a pop-up down the third base line. Spilborg's tag. Rodriguez running back into the infield, having a little D because nobody's covering third base.
Well, this is a play that a shortstop has to make. It's an easier play for him rather than the third baseman, Kuzminov. And then he did the right thing. You just get it out of your glove and then you start running it in, because what had happened is Ryan had tagged up at third base and Todd Helton had tagged over at first. Well, nobody was covering at third, so Spilborgs can get off as far as he wants.
Well, the other key when he catches this baseball for me, Kuzminov needs to get out of the way.
Yep.
Now, so does an umpire. I mean, his direct line was here. All those guys are in his spot where he's going to throw the baseball.
Brad Hopp. Snap throw to third. And Spilly got back in.
You know what? I'm having all the fun I can
somebody.
Yeah, I'm going to get you. I don't care who it is. Somebody's going to get snatched.
We'll talk about.
I'm tired of it.
And this is a perfect opportunity to do it. You got the left-handed hitter that throws out away. Go ahead and try to get somebody over there.
I mean, it's personal now.
Yeah.
8 stolen bases tonight. That's in there for a strike on Hopper, 0-2. Brad does such a good job staying within himself. He knows his swing. He understands his approach. Doesn't get enough credit for his mental toughness. I mean, he is really steady.
You know what I like about him? He just doesn't change. You know, he goes into slumps. He's going to have the same swing because he looks at it as, you know, just knowing Brad, he looks at it, well, 2 weeks ago I was good enough for 4 home runs and I hit 380. Okay, so I'm hitting 180 this month. You know what? Guess what? It'll come back.
That's right.
And he doesn't get into a lot of stressful situation where he's worried. I mean, he cares. Don't get me wrong. He cares a lot. But that's why I like him so much, is because nothing bothers. I mean, if okay, I'm 0 for 12. That's all right. I may go 6 for 12 and give away 4 souvenirs next week.
And he's the same guy around the clubhouse. I'm sure
that
you guys
is the key.
I'm sure you guys play with some guys you knew when they were front runners. You
Well,
knew
Lou
when things
Brock.
were going well.
Lou Brock was the best for me. I mean, Lou Brock, you'd ask him every day, and he'd just take his hand and run a straight line across. Never too high, never too low. I just stay right here.
Harold Baines for me. Bainesy was that way.
Baines never got excited till the ball met the bat. He was
Well,
so
but
low-key
even-
guy. He was fun. You just watch him mope around, and he'd hit it 100 miles.
Well, that was the thing.
I mean, that same body. He just stayed that way all
If
the
he
time.
went 5 for 5
Yeah.
or 0 for 5.
Those are clubhouse guys appreciated, too, because you tell the guys that aren't team guys that go 0 for 4 and you win the game 2-1 and they're throwing stuff all over the locker room, or they're grumpy, they're not talking to anybody because they went 0 for 4.
Or vice versa.
Yeah, they're not team people.
Brad reaches out, drives this to deep right center field. This one's going to one-hop the wall. It'll score at least 1. The trail runners help, and he gets a green light. Todd's going to score. Here's Hop to third, a 2-run triple. Just when we're bragging on you. 9-5 Colorado.
Yeah, 16 RBIs, too, now for Brad Hopp. That's leading the ball club. He was the only one in double digits prior to the game. Helton joined him. And so did Ian Stewart. This ball, look how strong he is.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if you ever see him, folks, he's got huge, wide shoulders. Guys that have wide shoulders have power, and they throw the ball hard. I don't know why, but they do. And you look here, he's fooled by that pitch. He gets out in front of it and drives it. Now, when they bobbled it at second base, that's when Hopp made a decision to take off, too.
Ian Stewart ripped a 2-run double his last time up. With 1 out, the Padres down 4, bring the infield in.
If I'm playing first or second base right now,
Not feeling real comfortable.
I am not feeling too good.
Well, see, Adrian,
He's a
at
little
first,
smarter.
He's a step or 2 behind the bag.
Eckstein's right. By the time he creeps up, he'll be right on the edge of that grass. And you fear for your life.
But let me ask you something on that. Is he in that close because his arm's not as strong as what the other guys are?
That would be my guess, because if it was me and looking at Brad Hopp, I would want to go ahead and play about 3 or 4 steps deeper.
But doesn't he have, I mean, couldn't you do that because Hopp's up there? Why? I mean, I'm not sure why he didn't.
And also because the ball, more than likely, is going to be hit pretty hard.
One and 2, Moreno is ahead of Stewart.
they give the error to Rodriguez, or did they give it to Eckstein?
No error. What they said there is that it's a double, and on the throw, Brad moved to third. I thought it was a triple the whole way, but strike 3. That's a frustrating at bat there for Stewart, because you don't want the bat on your shoulder with a runner at third base, 1 out. 2 gone. Clint Barmas will come up. Let's answer our Affleck trivia question. Adrian and Edgar Gonzalez homered in the same game yesterday. Which pair of brothers homered as teammates in the same game the most times? May have been the Giles brothers with San Diego.
I didn't even think about them.
Affleck. Barmy lines one to right. Get down, it will. An RBI hit for Barmas, his second of the ball game. And the Rockies have hit the number they hit yesterday already. It is 10-5.
Well, it's the Giambi brothers. Is that who it is? Jason and Jerry? Yeah.
It's the Giambi brothers. And also the Guerrero brothers.
I cheated.
I could see the Giambis, and I could see Vlad Guerrero, but not Wilton.
Well, what happened in that game, those games, here goes Barmy, and it's popped up.
Oh, this is one of those you don't want. I wish I had a radar gun sometime to get the velocity of the ball coming on a high pop fly like that. That was up there.
Rockies didn't quite hit around, only 8 that inning. 17 the last 2, 10-5 they lead. And Kevin Kuzminoff will be the first to face Glendon Rush. Glendon picked off the 3 outs in the 4th inning, though he did not start the inning. Jason Hamill did. Hamill goes 3+ and faces 2 batters in the 4th inning. That's the same line for Chris Young. So Glendon Rush, if he can pitch effectively here, be the scorer's discretion, the official scorer's discretion, can pick up a win. Kuzminoff, Huntley, and Rodriguez. Kevin's a strong dude, tough guy, played football and wrestled at Evergreen High School, in addition to playing baseball, was not widely recruited at the time. Went to a junior college, ended up in Nevada Reno. Center field, Dexter Fowler. And Mark Stout is moving around the yard tonight. Let's check in with Mark again.
All right, guys, the great thing about Coors Field on a cold, chilly night like this, the Wells Fargo Club seats. Take a look around. It is plush up here, and you can come right inside, get warm. I'm going to come see my guy Adam and get a piping hot pizza so I can warm up here at Coors Field tonight. Let's go back to the booth. Thanks, Adam. Appreciate that.
What I want to know is, did you ever see any sort of financial transaction there?
It could have happened off camera.
You don't think
Stout,
so?
did you pay for that?
Who's not going to answer you right now?
Well, we got to find out, because Mark's usually a very generous guy, and we have not gotten our pizza yet. This is hitting the air to left center field. Spilborg's moving over, and Huntley is retired.
Drew, if you'd like, I will bring you exactly what I got.
Nothing.
He got an empty box.
That was all staged, wasn't it?
I said he did pay for it.
No, Mark wouldn't do anything like that.
I will bring you exactly what I got.
Was that just for Drew, or what about George?
Sure, George can have one as well.
I tell you what, I'll buy the pizza if you bring it in here.
No, I don't put pizza into this body.
The cobwebs on those G-dubs when they come out of Frazier pocket, huh?
Oh, now, Mr. Goodman. Mr. Goodman.
I couldn't resist.
Mr. Goodman.
Don't let me get the truck involved.
Do you want to get me started with you here? Now, I've known you 22 years. You don't want me to tell all the stories on you.
Oh, we'll share.
Because we don't have 6 hours. Well, more than that. We don't have 3 days.
We might. Did a lot of runs tonight. Luis Rodriguez pops into center field. Dexter Fowler's been busy. Good inning. George is buying us pizzas. 10-5.
No, George is buying Huey and I a pizza. Players stick together.
Next 3 months by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. By Burt Chevrolet, where the 09 Malibu is under $16,000. And by Dex, take the sport out of finding local information with Dex in print and online at dexknows.com. Edwin Moreno in relief of Chris Young. He begins the 5th inning with Glendon Rush, who's in relief of Jason Hamill. And Rush takes ball 1. Last time we saw Glendon with the bat a couple of days ago, Huey hit one over the center fielder's head for a double.
Well, think about this. When he was with the Cubs, he had 2 home runs in 1 ball game.
Yes, so he did.
He's a man that can swing the bat.
He got the ball in Arizona over Chris Young's head. That's not easy to do.
Saw him in that series make a couple catches back towards the wall.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Glendon. Dexter Fowler on deck. He's my midway point MVP of this game.
You're really going out on a limb there.
Thank you. You have a vote too.
Well, I would join you in the vote. I mean, the voting process.
Frage?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah, why not?
Unanimous.
Just give it away. They're not getting anything, so give them whatever you want.
A new card.
Give him that pizza that Dexter's bringing.
Dexter's bringing up. I hope Dexter's not bringing a pizza up here.
No, we're going to give Dexter the pizza that Stout's bringing us.
I hope Dexter stays down on the field for a while, to be honest with you. I hope he doesn't bring us a pizza.
I'll tell you what, he moves pretty quick. He probably could drop us off the pizza and still play center field. Here's the 3-2 on Glendon. Back up the middle. Oh, he's going to get some pinch hitting duties this year, you know it.
Well, You think about this. You got Glendon Rush, Jason Marquis, Aaron Cook.
Well, look, he's going to work enough today that he's going to be down tomorrow. If somehow Clint needed a pinch hitter in the middle of the game, he'll have some options now.
Right.
Got Marquis, that's number 1.
Yeah.
Cook, probably 2. 2A would be Rush. Of course, it's harder for Rush because he works out of the bullpen. Here's Dexter, 2 for 2 and a walk, 5 stolen bases. The team record 6 with EY. Now, if Glendon breaks for second, we have a story.
Yeah. Adrian's playing behind him, say that. Or you need to worry about holding him on.
Two 2-0 on Fowler. 2 hits tonight. Dexter's at 314 for the season. Leading all rookies in hitting. Way outside. 3-0. All right, guys, here's a bonus Aflac trivia question. What's the major league record for stolen bases in a game? EY stole 6. That's the Rockies record.
I'm going to say 7.
It's like an 8.
You know what, George, you're right.
Yeah,
it's
you
7.
guys cheat more than anybody I know. You give him this. You give him
You're
all the
right.
answers, Marino. You're
No,
unbelievable.
you're right. He's
You're
wrong.
right. That's
7.
What's that say?
Well, quit
8
looking
runs?
over my shoulder.
8
cheating
earned
on my
runs.
notes.
Who had 7? Who was it?
Guy you competed against, George.
Ricky Henderson?
No, Billy Hamilton with Philadelphia back in
I don't think so.
1894.
I don't think so.
What was Billy like off the field, George? All right, enough of that.
I couldn't agree more. There is a game going on, isn't there?
Ball 4. Fowler has now reached all 4 times. That pushes Rush to second.
Yeah, see, but now he can't go anywhere.
No,
he's got Rush
he's
out
got a
there.
tow truck out
That's
front
right.
of him.
Well, George, what I was saying about the 8 number.
Yeah,
8
earned runs
allowed by Chris Young as a career high.
Well, and what was it? How many earned runs did he have when he pitched against the Philadelphia
7.
Phillies? Yeah, it was 7 runs there, and then the other start that he had too. I mean, right now Darren Balsley's out to visit with Marino, going, you know what? The pitcher's leading off the next inning. We'd really like to see you get through this. We'd have to make some switches out there, save as much as we can. Or it's one of those speeches. Guess what? You're going to wear this, so you may as well get out of the inning any way you can.
In all seriousness, George, when you were met at the mound, or maybe you heard this related to you, what's the most sarcastic thing you ever heard a pitching coach say to a pitcher out there?
Well, you know, because if it's in a down moment, it's not funny. You know what
Sure.
I mean? If you walk out there, you say something sarcastic, you may get smacked.
Yeah.
You know, if you're out there giving up runs and getting hit hard, and a guy comes out, I mean, there is respect factor. Obviously, you know, we can set up here and make fun at times and have some fun with it and do what we want to do. But when you're out on the mound competing in this fashion, the last thing you need is somebody to say something. I'd said this earlier today to a guy that was here at the ballpark when Jim Fry came to the mound one time, and he said, all right, you got first and second, 1 out. Let's roll a double play. And I said, you're missing an out in the player. The bases are loaded and there's nobody out. Why don't you go back to the dugout? You know, I mean, how can you miss a player and an out when you're managing a baseball team?
Well,
Is that why you got fired?
Well, no. We just didn't play very well in '86, unfortunately.
ball on a strike on Spilborgs.
I've had catchers. No, I mean get mad, and I mean fire it back at you. You know, and say, let's go. I mean, they do something to get you going.
But George, what I meant was somebody coming out just to try to break the ice, loosen up the moment, not literally
not so
being
much
sarcastic like you're not playing very well.
Right, not so much, Drew, that they do it to relief pitchers as much as they would maybe to a starting pitcher to come back out here. You know, to try to have some fun. And typically it would be done to a young player that you know is nervous, that's uptight.
Right.
You know, trying to get an opportunity that way to try to get him to loosen up a little bit. But I mean, right now you're in a situation you just want to get the last out in this inning and not have any more runs come in than what the damage already is, because you don't want to have to go more to your bullpen. You're going to have to eat up some more innings, and the pitcher is leading off the next the very next.
Luis Perdomo is now throwing for the Padres. Todd Helton at the plate. Todd, sac fly, a strikeout, and an RBI single in the fourth. Glendon looking back at Dexter saying, hey, listen, don't forget I'm here.
Yeah, don't get a little antsy over there and take off.
Well, don't catch me if Helton hits one in the gap.
That's what I want to see.
That is always the exciting play when you got the two guys coming to home plate at the same time.
Well, who wasn't made the dual tag one time on that?
Carlton
Yankee
Fisk.
Stadium.
Carlton Fisk.
Wasn't it a Yankee Stadium?
Yeah.
You're out and you're out.
Oh, well. It's a little unconventional double play.
2 for 1.
Here's the 2-0 to Todd. Pulled at Adrian Gonzalez. There's one. And the return throw is in time. So it's a 3-6-1 double play. 5 innings completed. Coors Field. The Rockies in charge 10-5. It's a single to center field. And then Brad Hopp with a 2-run double to right center field. The Rockies broke open this ball game. 4 in the third, 4 more in the fourth. And the Rockies now enjoying a 10-5 lead.
5-run lead for Glendon. You got to come up and pound the strike zone.
Chris Burke is the pinch hitter.
We saw him. Where was he? He was with Seattle. He was doing a little catching. He was at second base in Vegas, and then they had the injury to Cabrera, and they needed to pick up a middle infielder, so they went back and got Burke, who was with them previously.
Yeah, you're right. He went from San Diego to Seattle, and then Seattle back down to San Diego. George, literally a day after we saw him play for the Mariners, and that was on the eve of the start of the 09 season.
Yeah, it was. And again, it was an opportunity for him, obviously, to get back to the big leagues.
Good for the Mariners, too, to let him go and get a job back in the big leagues.
Chris hesitated there. What? It's the same as the American League. It's 3 strikes, right?
Yeah.
Watch this.
Well, I'm not sure he thought about maybe that other pitch was there, and he thought maybe that ball got up into the seats. Maybe he didn't realize on the Hyundai cam that Ionetta caught the ball. And it's all luck when that happens anyway.
Yeah, you just put your glove there and you hope and the ball goes in, but it does take strong hands to hold on to that ball.
This is a great night to get a foul ball.
Nobody's here.
No,
right?
It's a very light crowd. The Rockies have drawn exceptionally well so far. 35,000 plus each of the 3 days for the Dodgers. Philadelphia series, the only other home series this year, was very well attended. Record more than 50,000 on opening day this year. But tonight is cold. It's a Monday night, a school night, work night, and attendance is light this evening. So some of these balls don't land in somebody's hand or glove. They kick around the seats for a moment or two.
Well, let's not forget about the great job the grounds crew did, because I know a lot of people here in the area had snow at their house. I know we did. We had about 4 or 5 inches down in Parker. And Mark Razum and his grounds crew was able to get this field looking immaculate before the ball game. I mean, they had to put in a lot of work to get it going, but no batting practice by either club out on the field today. But it's in perfect shape.
I visited with a couple of members of Raz's crew, and they did not have to plow the field today. It did melt in time, but they had extra work to do, and as always, it looks immaculate.
One of the best in the business.
Big curveball pulled into the seats, foul. Here's Raz. Mark Razum. The one shot we show of Raz that nobody wants to see is when he's on his cell phone, because that means he's checking to see if there's weather about to approach.
Well, one thing that's changed too that didn't go on a lot in the game either was the fact that they clean this field every 3 innings. Yep. They take off with the hand drags. And that, you know, I don't know about you. Even when I was playing, they didn't drag it.
Well, they did it once. They, like after the 5th or 6th.
Well, they did it in the 7th inning. And who was the guy in Detroit that danced?
Oh, yeah.
With the rakes.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, they would do it one time, and now they do it every 3 innings.
That guy was good.
Oh, he's really good. The whole crew did it with him. I mean, it was very entertaining to watch.
They still got that going there, don't they? Yeah,
sure.
We're going to see it again this year. We were in Detroit this year.
Hey, Rockies fans, you have your tickets for the May 6th through the 10th game, and come watch the Rockies take on the San Francisco Giants and the Florida Marlins. Coca-Cola value packs are available on Sunday, the May 10th. Call 1-800-388-ROCK or go online at ColoradoRockies.com or all the usual places to get your tickets for those series.
Jody Garrett keeps the at bat alive. Jody a double and a home run tonight. He was 0 for 16 before his double. And he's got a 3rd hit. That's a very nice at bat.
Well, it was. He just punched that one over to left field. You get one home run, a lot of times you feel like I can hit another one. What?
Oh.
We have a New York style for you.
Thank you very much.
A cowboy pizza for you.
Perfect.
And George, it's a Jim Fry mayonnaise special.
There you go. Beautiful. Boy, it is too. This is nice. Good for you. Who do we pay?
Oh, wow.
Mark.
Enjoy the pizza.
That's nice.
Go Rocky.
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
there'll be a bonus check in the mail.
Enjoy that, guys.
Thank you very much. Man of his word.
It's nice.
1-strike pitch to David Eckstein. Pulled down the line. That's a fair ball. Garrett's headed to 3rd. Spilboards quickly to the baseball. It's a double for Eckstein.
Boy, this is what you don't want to run into. I mean, I know it's a 5-run lead right now, but the scary part about this is all of a sudden you get in the middle of this lineup and one big hit, and you're back into a 2-run ball game. And this ball just hugs the 3rd base line down into the corner. It's going to be fair. Nice job by Spilly to get over and cut this thing off. And the Rockies very quickly had their bullpen going because they just don't want that exact thing to happen. What could happen?
I'm trying to think of the last guy that you see choke up as much as David Eckstein. I mean, the art of choking up, especially when 2 strikes is gone, that's out the window. But to see somebody choke up probably 3 inches on the bat. One more look at it.
Yeah, there's the big choke up. Well, obviously more back control.
You know, it
but
is.
if you look at it, it almost looks, and again, they come in models, folks, like an R161 because the barrel head is so big.
Yep.
On the bat he's using.
And that 161 also has a big handle on it. Some guys like the really thin handle, other guys like the bigger handle.
You got to figure Rush has the next 2.
Well, remember Rush.
Giles and Adrian Gonzalez.
When he faced Giles previously, he dropped down on an arm slot to a fastball away. Then he came back with a slider in that same arm slot. And remember the ugly swing, yet the result was good. It was a blue pit into the outfield.
1 ball, 1 strike. Brian Giles is always among the league leaders in seeing pitches. Bobby Abreu right near the top of that list every year. Todd Helton sees a lot of pitches. Giles doesn't get himself out.
Well, I mean, we have probably two of the best in the business in Giles and Helton. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. The guys really don't get themselves out. They're able to foul off pitches that other guys can't do, handle the bat, drive the ball to all parts of the field.
Like I said, 169 average coming in, but with men on,
Dropped down.
his average has been up higher. I mean, it's been at 269 to almost 270 because he had a hit with runner in scoring position earlier. So his average with runners on, I mean, it's much better than what it was.
And at the end of the year, Giles, who hit over 300 last year, is going to hit 280, 285 plus. Here's the 2-2, and it is pulled toward Helton. Todd's going to get the out. It's 10-6. Giles gets an RBI. That's his 11th of the year. As Garrett scores, 2 gone, and Adrian Gonzalez coming up. Well, if your windshield is chipped or cracked, we know exactly where you need to go. Elite Safelite Auto Glass. You can get them online at safelite.com. Duaner Sanchez, former Dodger, former New York Met, starting to toss in the Padre bullpen. Adrian Gonzalez at the plate. Gonzalez hits this well left center field. Spilborg's a long run, and this is a tweener. It's a ground rule double, and it is 10-7 as Gonzalez with his 16th RBI. He now has a hit in 17 of the 19 San Diego ball games. How effortless was that?
Well, a big, strong, long swing by a big left-handed hitter. I mean, that's exactly what this is. Didn't try to do any more with the baseball that was down and a little bit away from him than he did to try to pull this ball. If he tries to pull and not lift, it's a ground ball to Todd Helton. Instead, he's got a ball out into left center field and out of the reach of Dexter Fowler and Spilborg. And Clint Hurdle's going to go get the right-hander, Jason Greeley, to come into the ball game to try to stop this thing.
10-7. Sixth inning with a couple of outs. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 800 Comcast. Jason Greeley will be asked to get the final out. Glendon Rush went 2 2/3. Adrian Gonzalez representing the 8th runners at second after doubling in David Eckstein. Chase Headley at the plate. He had a 2-run triple back in the 3rd. He's 1 for 3. Headley in his rookie season last year hit 9 home runs. You'll never forget your first. And for Headley, it came at Yankee Stadium. Rockies had a player, George, hit his first career home run
Grand Slam.
Stadium.
Grand Slam. Chew Freeman.
Chew Freeman.
Yeah. Chew's playing for the right now the Tucson Toros for Tim Johnson after having hip surgery last year. Trying to make it on the comeback trail.
There's Chew all the best. Here's the 2-0 to Headley. And it's 3-0, and that's why you're seeing Jason Grilli, I think, right now in the 6th inning. For about a week, you know, he was money, and you were seeing him late in ball games on the plus side, but he's had some command issues.
The other day when he came into Arizona, he was able to punch 3 guys out. The ball was up in the strike zone a little bit. They chased. Then he had a good slider to go with it. Then the very next night, they ran him back in again. He got 1 out and walked 2 guys. So when you start to fall behind in the count consistently, I mean, it kind of backs you up. And I know as a reliever, I like to know when the bell rang and what time it was going to ring for me. I mean, for me, most of the time, it was the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 8th innings. But it was a whole different era of baseball, too. I mean, you know, it's Mr. Gossage. I love to call him Mr. Gossage because that's what he is. You know, and a Hall of Famer that a lot of 3-inning saves. People said to me, what was the most innings he ever threw? And I think it was 111, 115 out of the bullpen. You never see that anymore. Guys throw 65 games, they may throw 80 innings. So it's a totally different era of what it was. You had plus side guys, minus side guys.
And Mike Marshall is a closer, would throw over 100 innings every year.
106. Appeared, what was it, 106 games one year?
3-2, strike 3. Grilli comes all the way back and strikes out Headley with Gonzalez at second. In the inning, a couple of runs on 3 hits for San Diego. Colorado leading mid-6, 10-7. They're prepared either way. Cold, wet. Yeah, I think that's the warmest jacket we've seen on Coors Light Freeze Camp. Duaner Sanchez is on now for the Padres in relief of Moreno. Moreno in 2 innings gave up 2 runs, 4 hits, walked the batter, and had 1 strikeout. Chris Young is on the south side for the San Diego Padres, and it looks like Glendon Rush has a chance to win the baseball game for the Rockies. Jason Hamill started, went 3 innings, gave up 5 runs. Here's Garrett Atkins, and Garrett takes a strike.
Think there's any rosin on Donner's hat?
I was thinking the same thing when we just saw that last. If I'm a hitter,
yeah,
I might say something to the umpires.
Dust it off?
Yeah. You can't have that much rosin up there.
Well, you know, one year Fernando Valenzuela had to deal with a shoe company. He had a flap on it that was just huge. I mean, it almost wanted to cover the whole toe. And it was white. And he had a big leg kick that would come through. You know, swipe through it. In the first couple innings, all the hitters were complaining they couldn't see it because here it come this, and then all of a sudden the ball would come flying out of there. So they made him go and change shoes. Take the big flap off. This guy does have a little bit too much rosin on the hat. You don't like that, do you?
No, I don't at all.
This ball's hit well, left center field, way back, and it's going to short off the wall and go over virtually the same place that Adrian Gonzalez had a ground rule double. For Garrett Atkins, 2 doubles and a single tonight. That's great to see.
Yeah, very nice to see.
I was going to say, is that the guy who got Spilly's home run yesterday?
Another fastball that was up.
I mean, you look at this pitch coming in. I don't know if it was that or a slider maybe, because it was spinning with a rotation of a slider. It had that side spin on it, but whatever it was, it just hung. Bell tie, and Atkins such a very good.
It is the same guy. He just has a jacket on.
He catches a lot of balls. I mean, he's always up and down that left field line out right behind the wall.
Brad Hopp at the plate fouls it off. Second 3-hit ball game of the year for Atkins. Garrett brought a .224 average into the ball game, and it's still April, time of year where you throw 3 hits out, you can raise the average 30 or 40 points. Well, yesterday Ryan Spilborghs hit a 2-run home run, and here's our man. A little warmer yesterday.
Look at the jacket he's got on. Look at the shirt.
He's got Spilly's jersey on. He's got the rock. Tonight he's bundled up a little bit. Hope he's not in the witness protection program. He's got revealed. This ball line drive center field, and it's going to drop. Atkins had to see it down. And Brad Hopp has his second hit of the ball game.
And I'm on TV, and you're on right now.
Tell you what, anybody in the neighborhood wants to take BP, he's the house to the door to knock on. Huh?
Excuse me, can we borrow some baseballs from you?
Yeah, you got 6 buckets in the garage. Ian Stewart, 1 for 3, a 2-run double in the 3rd inning. Also a stolen base. He swiped 3rd. Rockies have 8 stolen bases in the game, 5 by Dexter Fowler.
All right, think about all the hits yesterday for the Rockies. Where did they take batting practice?
Underneath.
Think about all the hits for the Rockies today. Where did they take batting practice?
Underneath.
Where do you think they're going to take batting practice tomorrow?
Underneath.
There you go.
How'd I do?
You're really good. You're smart. You learn fast.
But ball players aren't superstitious, are they?
Not at all. If they say they're hitting outside, everybody's going to be going, we're inside. It's that hot, George.
They got a little follow through working, doesn't it?
No, it's more than follow through.
0-2. Ground ball redirected, and the one play, and that's the first. They get Stewart as Eckstein recovers. It's an RBI fielder's choice. Atkins scores. The Rockies with their 11th run. It's 11-7.
Now the Rockies have been able to answer every time. This is where you just took the double play ball away when you tried to reach out and slap the baseball, because it's going to be a difficult play to catch, spin, and throw to get the double play ball as a pitcher. I kind of always had a rule of thumb. If it's outside the dirt, I let it win. I just let it go on the pitcher's mound. Because I figure if I catch it, I'm not going to get one out either way. I'd rather let it go and see if they could have an opportunity for a double play ball.
But that's got to be hard to do in the fact that your natural reaction is to try to reach for it.
But with the wingspan, my wingspan was usually I was close to being out there. Anything to the left side, I had no shot anyway because I fell off to the other side of the bat.
Oh, that hit right in the head.
Oh, man. Epstein tried to cut in front and get to the baseball.
I'm not sure Eckstein even was able to stop that ball at all.
Brad Hopp was scheduled to play for Team USA during the WBC, and he got spiked, got stepped on the finger, running the bases, diving back into a base during spring training, and had to have his hand stitched up. It cost him a spot on that team. Could have got part of the helmet.
Neck or the helmet, not quite sure. Oh,
neck.
Right in the neck.
Well, obviously, he's very upset with that throw. And anytime you throw back like that on a wild pitch or a ball in the dirt, you have a tendency of two guys moving. The ball's coming. You're throwing to moving objects at the time. Oh, boy, you just scary, scary deal.
Keith Duggar is the Rockies' head trainer. Scott Garrett is on the right. He's the assistant to Keith. Yeah, that, you know what? It was right underneath the helmet. I don't think it got much hard plastic, unfortunately. Now you have a paramedic coming out. Obviously, Brad's conscious. You can see his eyes blinking. And one thing, any time you get hit in the head area, the neck area, as a precaution, they're not going to have you sit up and move you around at all.
Yeah, safety first.
Hopefully it's one of those situations where Brad's real sore, but there's no injury. And actually Hundley's throw was a very good throw. It was on the right side of the bag to try to pick a guy off. It's just that Eckstein, who had coverage, couldn't quite get there in time. It was just a freaky type of thing.
It was. I mean, Eckstein was trying to get through and catch the ball, and he was just couldn't get through Brad, and unfortunately hit him in the neck.
Sitting up now. That is a good sign. (11-7) Colorado. Sixth inning. Brad at second base. There's one out. Clint hasn't sent anybody yet out on the field to run for Hopp. Jason Marquis, who was terrific yesterday, is going to run here. I don't think Jason's going to play right field, so we're going to have him run. And I assume you'll see other.
Well, here's the one reason Bud Black's coming out. If you're wondering why Bud Black's coming out to second base to talk to Jerry Crawford, because when he was hit, he rolled over Drew. He was motionless. He was away from the bag, and they walked over and tagged him.
Well, I understand what you're saying.
I mean, that's what Bud Black's. If you're wondering why Bud Black's out, that's why Bud Black's out. That's why he's out on the field asking Jerry Crawford this. I understand the injury side of things shuts it down, yet I understand what Bud Black's saying to him. If you're wondering at home why he came out, that's why he came out.
But I think Jerry Crawford said as soon as that happened, he went over there to check to make sure that he was okay, and really not give him the opportunity, if he could, to get back to the bag. But I understand what you're saying. He's just double checking to make sure that that's indeed what the reasoning was.
Watch this. Brad's not.
Yes, he never actually tagged him either, though.
I think he's checking on him. I don't think
he
he's
is
trying
checking.
to get it out.
No, he's not. That's what the point is, though, Drew. But the point that they were making, if he takes the balls in his bare hand, the gloves only ain't touched him. If the ball touches him, then you might have a legitimate argument. But I don't think either way it's a legitimate argument.
No,
obviously,
because I'm sure
player's down.
I'm sure time was called, immediately by the second base umpire, Jerry Crawford. And it's a question Bud Black, if you're wondering at home, it's a question Bud Black, as the manager of the Padres, has to ask, and he did it in absolutely the most classy way he could. He did not come out on the field while Brad Hopp is down. He waited, and he waited a while. He waited until the cart was in the runway and now basically out of the stadium. And he didn't engage in real demonstrative argument. He asked the question. And if you know Bud Black, that is not a surprise. Bud is as classy as they come.
He is, and I mean, that's the way he was as a player, and that's the way he is as a manager.
So Marquis running for Hopp. Clint Barmas with a 3-2 count.
Well, if you're wondering why maybe they didn't put Smith in, this ball's hit well to left field.
It's going to stay in the ballpark.
It should be, and will be. Marquis at second. If you're wondering why Marquis running it and say he doesn't put in Seth Smith, Smith will probably go in, but it could be in the pitcher spot when Greeley comes up. That's why he's saving position guys.
Chris Iannetta, a couple of walks and a pop out. This ball is hit well left center field. Coming on and making the catch is Chase Headley, getting off the end of the bat a little bit. In the inning, there were a couple of hits, another run for the Rockies. They lead 11-7. moves from left field to right field. Ian Stewart moves from second base to left field. He gets a longer glove in the process. And coming into the ball game is Omar Quintanilla. So Omar's at second base. Clint Barmas at short. Jason Grilli will continue on the mound. Top of the 7th inning, 11-7 Colorado. With Jeff Houston and George Frazier and Mark Stout, I'm Drew Goodman. As soon as we have an update on the injury to Brad Hopp, we will present that to you. Kevin Kuzminoff, Nick Hundley, and Luis Rodriguez. And the first pitch, a towering fly ball to deep left field. Stewart near the wall. Makes the catch. That's not easy. How about when you're playing second base and the first one is about a 300-foot high fly ball right near both walls.
You figure that the guy that's going to get this ball in this situation is either Omar Quintanilla or Ian Stewart, because they've all changed positions and the other guy comes in. This ball was hit a mile high, folks, because it was way up over the stadium. I mean, you're looking at this, we're watching it the whole way, and how far he had to run. That wall's closing in on you. Tough play.
It's a quick strike on Nick Hundley.
But the best part is it's an out.
Got it.
It's an out.
Glad he was out there.
That's also a strike. 0-2.
Well, bring your group out to the yard if you want to have a great time. 25 or more, receive discounted pricing, a scoreboard recognition, and other great benefits. So call 303 Rockies to order now for your group.
Here's the 0-2, swung on and missed. Strikeout, the second for Jason Grilli. 2 gone. Luis Rodriguez coming up, and let's check in again with Mark Stout. Mark, pizza's good, by the way.
Great. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Let me set up the Geico quote of the day. Jason Nix, the former Rocky, of course, the second baseman, was released at the end of the year, signed with the White Sox, and had a good spring training and got injured and was put on the DL while rehabbing. And Ozzie Guillen, the manager of the White Sox, you see their game was rained out on the scoreboard, postponed today. He had this comment when asked about Jason Nix and whether he'd be able to come up with a big league team. He said, if you're not with the big league team now, you are of no concern with me. Typical Ozzie Guillen, our Geico quote of the day on former Rocky Jason Nix.
He states exactly what he thinks. There's not a governor on, not really a filter on his comments. He's fond Ozzie Guillen, and I don't think he meant to rip Jason Nix, who actually during spring training was tearing the cover off the ball before he got hurt.
Yeah, 5 for 10 at one time in spring training with a couple of extra base hits.
Barmas at shortstop, I'm sure among many, but Barmas, they both played up the middle, keeps in close contact with Jason Nix. I hope I hope there's a fit there for Nix.
Well,
he can
Ramirez
pick it.
Isn't playing that well.
Yeah.
He's a former #1 draft pick, and he's hit everywhere. And with the Rockies, he got 44, 45 at bats, did not hit. They made the change. And did not get the opportunity after that. You hope you get in over there, and you hope you get a chance to go prove what you can do.
Two and 2 on Luis Rodriguez.
You know what? The game will tell you whether you're good enough or not. If you get enough, that's right. You get the opportunity, the game will allow you to show what you can do and what you can't do.
How about Grilli? He has faced 4. He's gotten all 4, 3 via strikeouts. Back inside Coors Field, we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. The Rockies leading 11-7, trying to win a couple ball games in a row after knocking off the Dodgers yesterday 10-4. First win against LA this year. And the new pitcher in the ball game is Gregerson, Luke Gregerson, and he has done a very good job.
He really has. He can run his fastball up to 94. He'll pitch comfortably at 90, 91. A hard slider that he'll run up to 84, but pitch most of the time to 80 to 82 mile-an-hour range. And Bud Black likes him. Bud thinks he does a good job with him.
Well, Clint Hurdle wants Jason Grilli to keep going tonight, so he's going to have him hit here. He'll be followed by Dexter Fowler. Houston Street. Really hits a 3-hopper to Kuzmanov. 1 out. Today's delivery of the game is brought to you by Jimmy John's. That's all the stolen bases. Dexter Fowler with 5 stolen bases for the Rockies tonight, but he's not alone. The Rockies have 8 as a team. Ian Stewart stealing 3rd. Dexter back live, swings and misses. Dexter a perfect night, single and a run scored, 2 stolen bases, a walk in the 3rd, scored a run after stealing 2 bases, singled, stole a base in the 4th and scored, walked in the 5th. Wasn't allowed to steal because Glendon Rush was in front of him.
Otherwise he would have.
Oh, and 2. He got him with the same pitch 3 times.
Hard sliders, 84, 85, 84, and they were hard. Down on the back foot with late break. I'm a big believer in that slider right back down here. I just think the left-handed guys could do a lot with it.
You're right.
Versus trying to backdoor the slider and put it back over here on that outside corner. I just like it down and in like this. See the type of swing you try to put on it. If you hit it, you're going to pull it in the dugout.
Well, how many times do you try a backdoor slider and you miss? And very rarely, if you think about that back foot slider, you miss there.
Up the middle, diving stop by Rodriguez, and he's not going to get Ryan Spilborn. Spilly runs well. That's his 2nd infield hit of the night. Spilly's 2 for 4. He's been on 3 times. Good stop by Rodriguez.
It was. Yeah, I mean, he laid out for it and tried to get it and get up and throw as best he could. But Spilly coming out of the box hard. He had that lean already going, and he runs a lot faster than you think.
Yeah, it looks like as he starts to go up the line. Now watch when he goes up this line. It's the stride, short, choppy, short. Now so boy, they start to really lengthen out.
You know why? Why? He's smelling a hit.
He's smelling a hit? Is that what it is? He's sniffing the barn?
Yes, he is.
I want to see if he can go to that hard slider. I mean, that's 90-mile-an-hour fastball that sank down and away from Todd. I want to see if he goes that hard slider just like he did on Dexter Fowler to Todd Helton.
Gregerson used to working out of the bullpen and the stretch. Spilly bluffed or shut one down a moment ago. You don't know, again, if it was a bluff or he didn't get a good jump. And if you're saying, well, it's an 11-7 game, you don't go. No, it's within a grand slam.
That's
you
right.
most certainly could go here and
well, I
try
remember Jim Tracy said in the office one day, tell me and you that 6 wasn't safe. Most ballparks, it's a grand slam. This one, he thought 6. You had to get 6 to feel safe.
Not going. Helton watches it sail down low, so it's 1-1. Todd tonight, a couple of RBIs. 1 for 3 and a sac fly. And this is back. Oh, man. Gonzalez didn't pick it up clean, and Helton's going to get an infield hit. It went off of Gregerson's leg, and it ricocheted right toward Gonzalez. Now, Adrian's not expecting that, and it came at him pretty quickly, and it tied him up.
Well, obviously your reaction on balls coming back. That is a one-hop line drive. It got off the left leg or balance leg, it appeared to. That sure did. It caught right off of the shin and then just ricocheted to the first base side.
Garrett Atkins, who has 3 hits tonight. RBI double in the first, RBI single in the third, and a double in the sixth that he hit about 420 feet. Two outs, Spilborghs and Helton aboard. Rockies by 4 in the bottom of the 7th. Outside, let's check in again with Mark Stout. He has an injury update on Brad Hopp.
Hey, Drew, I came out to left field, and I've been told by the Rockies that Brad's been taking a Rose medical, and he's there for a possible concussion. That's all they know right now, so he's gone from the ballpark.
All right, Mark. Nick Hundley, tough night, and he's just part of the equation. And in fairness, with Chris Young out there, you could have Johnny Bench back there, Pudge Rodriguez in his prime, Benito Santiago in his prime, and they're not throwing guys out. He's just too slow to the plate. This is a bouncing ball to second. Eckstein will flip to Rodriguez for the force out, and the Rockies are done in their half of the 7th. They will carry an 11-7 lead in inning number 8 at Coors Field. Limited local and long distance. Call 1-800-COMCAST. By Big Brothers Big Sisters, donate your car and you'll get a free tow and tax break, and you'll help change a kid's life. And by Mike Shaw, go to channel 888 on your Comcast remote for real estate, automotive, careers, and more. Houston Street is aboard. 9-hole is up for the San Diego Padres, and naturally they go to their bench. Edgar Gonzalez hit a pinch hit home run yesterday. We were discussing that earlier. He and Adrian both hit home runs in the ball game for the 2nd time since Edgar was called to the big leagues last year. First pitch from Street. Oh no! Round ball to short. Bar miss. Yes, he did. How pretty was that? Wow.
People forget, I mean, before the Tulowitzki era even came to Coors Field, this was your starting shortstop and made plays like this an awful lot. The plays in the hole, the jump throws, everything. And it's all about reaction off the bat, Jeff, and that's exactly what he did.
And notice he was shifted over into the hole just a little bit more just by the scouting report. But then Barmas with the throw and the little hop. But boy, oh boy, when you got a 3-time Gold Glover over there, that feels nice, be able to pick the ball out of the dirt.
And you know what? That was not an easy pick. That was one of those in-between picks.
Yeah, but you see what Todd did? Todd stayed very quiet on the bag to get a read at the distance of the baseball. Then when he strided out, he strided to the baseball. He didn't go out stride and then try to give a big scoop pick. He just gently carried the glove back and let the momentum of the ball come to the glove.
Well, and that's where you have to be light on your feet as well. And to know that you have to slide onto the bag. You see where the throw goes, you slide towards the backside of the bag. But that gives you a ton of confidence as an infielder that you just saw it in the neighborhood and it's going to be caught.
It's been, I tell you, baseball's been very fortunate through times now. You think back to guys like Casey, who was over in Pittsburgh, Hernandez had played with the Cardinals, the great first baseman, the Gonzalez, the Heltons. There's been some pretty good ones run through there. Albert Pujols is a good first baseman. Derek Lee in Chicago. I mean, there's a lot of guys that can really play first base.
1-2 on Jody Garrett. If you're watching intently at home, you may say, well, Jason really hit for himself last inning, yet he's not out here pitching. It's Houston Street. So Clint Hurdle, still with a couple innings to play, George decides to keep his bench intact, just in case.
Well, you never know. I mean, it's a 4-run ball game. It could be one of those games at Coors Field. You keep everybody sitting there but Quintanilla, who went in to play second base and moved into Brad Hopp's spot into the lineup. A nice catch by Helton again. I mean, a good coverage by Street to get over. You practice it every day in spring, and it happens a lot. Guys don't break to the bag or they break late. Houston did a good job there.
David Eckstein, a double and a walk tonight, 1 for 3. David out of the University of Florida. One of those guys you know his whole life. Everybody said, nope, you can't. You're not big enough.
Well, he's Aaron Miles.
Strong enough.
There's another guy, another Aaron Miles. So this guy was an MVP in the World Series.
Well, Miles is the other guy that might joke up on the bat.
Yeah, but I meant my point is you know, Miles is one of those guys who were told you weren't good enough, you weren't big enough, you're not fast enough, you don't turn the double play, your arm's not strong enough. Had a very nice major league career.
I mean, I love these guys, George. And Huey, you know, if he shows up at a tryout camp, there's no way you even notice him.
No.
Well, you know what, though? You might, just because of his hustle and the way he's playing the game. You're looking at him and you go, you know what, this guy's a ball player. Yeah, you know, you just watch him as a scout, and you sit back, watch him, you go.
But how do you turn him in?
That's the thing right there.
Well, my point is there's guys, and I've gone to some of these tryouts just that you're talking about. I went through it with Parker. I went to 5 pre-draft workouts. That you see guys, and you go, you know what, something about him's catching my eye. I don't know what it is.
The scout's got to go out on the line.
Here's my point. He gets signed, and he got drafted by the Red Sox, I think the 19th round. And the reason he did was his body of work. There's no way you show up in one day or even 2 days and you just can't turn him in, can you, Huey?
No. Well, the only reason I'm going to counter with you a little bit, Huey, is because you have those tryouts for that reason, for a guy just to show up. Because, guys, you may have missed some guy. Well, but you know, because if you've got a 5-state area and there's 2,500 high schools and 800 colleges out there that you can't cover everybody, and you say, I got to go for tryout.
But that's where you have to have faith in your scout, because your scout's going to turn them in, and then come draft day, when you go to the scouting director and say, hey, listen, I got this kid, he's 5'6", but I mean, don't look at his numbers or how big he is, whatever. Trust me on this one. That's where the scouting director has to say, okay, I'll take a flyer on him because you have so much trust in him.
Well, what happens? He gets put over in that 3rd row category.
Yeah.
All right, and they're all in an argument, who we take. Well, I don't know. You know, Houston really liked this guy. Let's just take him.
Yeah, you got to base it the other way. And the reason we're discussing it is David's not real fast. He has a way below middle infield arm, and yet he's going to carve himself out a double-digit major league career. At most of his career, he's a starter.
But he plays the game right.
He's tremendous.
That's what I'm saying, though. He plays the game right, and that's what's going to get him a lot of times, to get him the opportunities to keep playing the game.
Hard on the ground to second. Omar Quintanilla throws out Brian Giles, and that is all for the Padres in the 8th inning. It remains an 11-7 ball game. First time the Rockies have seen the Padres this year. Luis Perdomo on for the 6th time this year. And he will throw the bottom half of the 8th inning. Omar Quintanilla, who came in for Brad Hopp. When Brad was hit on that snap throw to second from Nick Hundley, he got hit in the neck, and Brad stayed down for several minutes. And he put a neck brace on him, and he was taken by a cart off down the left field line. And the only word we have is that he was brought to Rose Medical Center. They're checking for a possible concussion. Brad was conscious. Quintanilla, Stewart, Barnes. Take a look at our Quest in-game box. Big day for Dexter Fowler. He's been on base 4 times, scored 3 runs, 5 stolen bases. Spilborgh's a couple of hits. Helton has a couple of ribbies. Atkins. George, that box looks very similar to the one we saw yesterday when the Rockies scored 10 runs against the Dodgers.
Better known as a happy box.
Yeah.
That is a happy box when you throw up those kind of numbers.
And the balance up and down the lineup.
Dodgers are losing in Frisco 3-0. Zito's pitching that ball game.
And that gets away. Manny Corpus was thrown in the Rockies' pen, and Manny finished up yesterday. The Rockies were ahead 10-3 through the 9th inning to get some work, and gave up a run on 3 hits. Not be a safe situation.
A lot of times when you've struggled coming out of the bullpen, and again, a save as a closer, a lot of times managers try to hold you back for that close situation. Well, you know, sometimes it gets to be inconsistent work, and you try to say, all right, I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to work you to see if we get more sink out of the fastball. We're going to see if you get better command of what you're doing. If you're down in the strike zone more, we're going to run you out there. We're going to run you out when you're on the plus side. Not run you out when you're down 7 or 8 runs and have you pitch the 8th inning, or down 5 and pitch the 8th. I'm going to run you out there where you're getting some handshakes at the end of a game versus walking up the tunnel after a loss. I think behind that, it's more of a positive thing that Clint's trying to run with his bullpen and what he's doing.
2-2, swung on and missed by Quintanilla. So Perdomo has the strikeout. And that'll bring up Ian Stewart.
Perdomo's one of those, another right-hander, young right-hander with a very good arm. 90 to 93 mile an hour fastball. Typically, that's where he has set in his career. Slider will be 83. He can run it up into the low, I should say the mid to high 80s, but then it turns into more of a cutter than it does an actual slider where you have a lot of down tilt. It's more of just a slide to the left.
And there's a slider in the dirt. Rockies last year through 17 ball games, 9-8. They entered play tonight at 6-11. Still in the midst of that 19-game stretch where they're playing inside their own division. It's been tough sledding. 2-7 so far, and most of those losses to the Dodgers. 5 of those 7. 2 to Arizona. On the ground to second, Eckstein. Throws out Stewart, and that'll bring up Barmes. Barmes a couple of RBI singles and a deep drive to left and a not as deep drive to left. 2 for 4. You know, George, this is the 40th year of Padre baseball.
Let's go all the way back to the years of Ray Kroc when he bought that organization, started it. Wanted that opportunity for a world championship.
You know the name I always remember, and I bring this up to you probably once a year. The name I remember growing up with the Padres was Nate Colbert. When he hit them, they stayed hit.
Yes, they did. I mean, I remember going back into that ballpark as a very young player in 1978. You walk in there, and it was, at that time, you say football field. This is, you hear the infielders, veteran guys. So it's one of the worst fields to play on because it is football. It's this, it's that. Man, I thought it was paradise. I thought this was a great place to come to the yard and play. I mean, it's great. And of course, their new ballpark is just incredibly beautiful. But to go in and play, Winfield was there at the time. Ozzie Smith was a young kid coming to the big leagues.
That was before the Templeton trade, right? 3-0 on Barmes. Jeff Houston making his way to our post-game set in center field. And Clint on 4 pitches walks.
4th walk of the year for Perdomo. He's just a young kid that, you know what, he can do that. He can walk a few guys, he can fall behind in counts, and then he can just electrify the strike zone with 2 pitches.
You know what, for Barmy, George?
Pretty good day, hasn't it?
Well, it's a super day. That's his first walk of the year.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you know how aggressive he is.
Oh, yeah.
That's his first walk of the year. Chris Iannetta has walked twice, and Chris will walk quite a bit. Tends to be a little more patient. You know, neither's necessarily right or wrong. You don't want a guy firing all the time on the first pitch, getting himself out, that type of thing.
Yeah,
but Barmes' style works for him, and Chris Iannetta has developed into a very good major league hitter. He's off to a slow start this year by being selectively aggressive.
Yeah, and I think more and more it's you see guys get that aren't free swingers, that they figure out their own strike zone, and then they try to stay within that strike zone to capitalize and get the base hit. It's when you start to get out of that zone that it starts to cost you an at-bat.
Seth Smith, if Chris can reach. Back goes splintering away. Eckstein went to cover the bag, I think, and it sneaks into right field. A base hit for Iannetta. That was strange, George.
I don't know if he saw the ball. He held out his hand. He just threw his hands outside. I never saw the baseball because he was right there. I mean,
the head of the bat must have thrown him off.
Well, it went all the way down to third base line. I mean, it's interesting. This bat just exploded at the plate. So watch where Eckstein is. I mean, the ball's not that far from it.
Hit right at him.
See, look at him. I mean, he never saw it. See, like he put his hands up. See how his hands went up? And afterward, he just put his hands down. Like, I never even saw this. On the Hyundai cam, I mean, the bat goes flying over here, but he never saw the baseball.
Rockies with 16 hits, a season high. 21 runs the last 2 days. Seth Smith takes a strike. And Smitty drives one to right field down the line. Rockies get a 12th run. Heading to third is Iannetta. Giles fires it into second. And Seth Smith off the bench. And he has a stat line, as he so frequently does in a pinch hitting role. He just really has adjusted well to coming off the bench.
There's no question he has. Gets a fastball middle half of the plate with some extension, and with Gonzalez holding him on, he just shot this ball down the right field line, and you see Giles come over and scoop it up to throw back in. He couldn't prevent Iannetta from getting to third base in scoring position.
That almost went to the backstop.
Yeah, the Rockies 10 for 22 with the runners in scoring position tonight. Obviously, that's outstanding. The Padres hit .333, 4 for 12, which is not bad either. It's been one of those games at Coors Field, 12-7.
Dexter had 3 hits yesterday, a chance for his 3rd hit here. And now Nick Hundley, who's had a long day back there. He's caught a lot of bullets. Goes to the mound. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Colorado Rockies and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Colorado Rockies. George, by the way, we were talking about Nate Colbert a moment ago. Dougie just handed me a stat. You know, in 40 years of Padre baseball, and they've had their moments, they've never had the big-time power hitter because their all-time home run leader remains Nate Colbert with 163 home runs.
Well, but let me say this. Their old ballpark was much like Petco. I mean, the ball went a little bit farther, but yet it was still big. And before they moved the wall in, there used to be 2 walls there. A lot of people don't know that, but there in the old ballpark, there was a wall that was moved in almost 15 feet from the original cement wall at the old ballpark.
Well, our old friend Freddie Kendall, who used to work as an instructor coach in the Rockies organization, caught there for many years, and he said he feels like he lost 10 or 12 home runs those first few years. That's a strike. 3-2.
Well, Dave Winfield had a little bit of power. Played there a long time, and Winnie, I think he's like 5th or 6th, 4th on their hits list in Padres history. So I mean, it's not like, you know, you're talking about a ballpark. When you look down at the hit leaders there, I mean, Winfield had 1,134 hits there.
I'll go out on a limb. I'm going to say the current Padre first baseman one day will have the all-time home run record. 12-7 Colorado.
Time now. I've got a light out here so you guys can see me a little bit better. We're going to go to the clubhouse after the game, get some post-game sound. We're also going to talk about April Fowler, the great month that he's had and the great night that he's had, and also Young and Restless. For the first time that I can remember, we're going to let George use a telestrator in the post-game show to show us why the Rockies were so easily able to steal off of Chris Young. That's all coming up after the ball game.
You look very good illuminated.
One more. I feel I'm uneven, but this works.
Well, all in time, my friend. Maybe a little more makeup. All right, Tommy, we'll see you in a little bit, bud.
You got it.
Top of the 9th inning, Seth Smith remains in the ball game. Smitty's in left field. Stewart, he's going to try to play every position before the end of the ball game. He was at second, he was in left, now he's at third. Atkins has come out. So it's Barmas at short, Quintanilla at second. Todd Helton still at first base. And Manuel Corpus is in the ball game looking for the final 3 outs. Adrian Gonzalez 1 for 3, an RBI double in the 6th inning. Gonzalez with that double, now a hit in 17 of 19 ball games this year for San Diego. And that's way inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. George, what are you looking for? What's Clint Hurdle? What's Bob Apodaca, other than the obvious, get 3 outs, get them quickly? What are you looking for in particular from Manuel?
Well, I'm looking for strikes down in the strike zone with some velocity behind them. You know, I'm looking for good pitches the whole time. And I think that's the one thing you got to do to where you're not making great defensive plays behind it all the time, and that you're working ahead. The velocity back in the slider, and you know, you go back to 07, his slider was 82 to 85, 86 at times. His fastball ran up to 94, 95. Maybe the fastball may not be there anymore, but you got to create the sink, you got to create the consistency to come in and close out ball games.
Well, when you say may not be there anymore, he's a young guy. I mean, you're
well,
not talking about a guy who's
right,
35 all
right.
of a sudden. You say, well, back in his 20s, he used to throw in the mid-90s. Now he's.
Well, wear and tear affects people in different ways, and it may have affected him earlier. It may not have. I mean, you know, for whatever reason it is, that the velocity is not up as high as it once was, but he has touched 92, 93 at times. I think it's the aggressive attitude also that he needs to take on the mound and fire. That fastball at 93 here in the house.
1 ball, 1 strike on Chase Headley. Chase a 2-run triple in the 3rd. That's when San Diego took a brief 4-2 lead. They got 4 in the 3rd. Rockies answered with 4 in the bottom of the 3rd. 1-2. Padres staring down the barrel of their 6th loss in their last 7 games after surprising everybody with a 9-3 start. And one of the things that has to be troubling to Bud Black is that the last 2 ball games he had his 2 best pitchers on the mound. Jake Peavy, he lost yesterday. The Pirates scored 8 runs at Petco, 8-3 final. Look up on the scoreboard with a Chris Young start. There's a base hit. And the Rockies have 12 runs, 17 hits. Now, obviously, not all of that was against Chris Young, but Young went 3 innings. Didn't get anybody out in the 4th. Gives up 8 runs on 7 hits.
Well, we mentioned the 2 starts that he had against the Dodgers and Phillies not good. The 2 against San Francisco pretty good. So sometimes the whole numbers don't jump out at you like maybe they should have. And again, the parks I look at, you know, Philadelphia and here are 2 of the best hitter parks in baseball.
Kevin Kuzminov's 1 for 4. A ball and a strike. Outside corner at 91, so a ball and 2 strikes. Well, part of that good start, George, for the Padres included winning 2 of 3 in New York against the Mets when they opened up that ballpark, and winning 2 of 3 at Philadelphia, the defending world champs. Swung on and missed by Kuzminov, and that is the 2nd out. Now, the Rockies are winning big right now, but we're all concerned about the well-being of Brad Hobbs. Snap throw to 2nd. Brad going back in the bag. Watch slowly, and it's not pretty. He gets hit underneath the helmet neck area. Brad did sit up, and as you can see, walked with a neck brace to a cart. And he's been taken to Rose Medical Center, and they're checking for a possible concussion. That was scary, especially where he got hit, George.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many moving objects trying to get the ball to connect to the leather again.
You know, you never want to see somebody get hit in the helmet unless it's that situation. You'd have much preferred, obviously, not that that's any fun. But you wish you'd hit that hard plastic. 2-strike count on Nick Hundley. Hundley's going to need a big bubble bath tonight, George.
Yeah, it is. It was a long night for him, particularly on the right arm. Trying to throw guys out all night long.
He didn't get a lot of help on the hill. And he has caught just a few pitches tonight.
Well, the pitches, the calling of the game, the mental aspect of it that just wears on you, man. I mean, when you're in a game like this, it really wears on you.
Here's the 0-2, fouled off again. Mark Stout's going to try to grab Dexter Fowler. It's part of our post-game report. Stick around for that. Tom Helmer, Jeff Houston, and the Cowboy out in center field. See how the Cowboy was dressed today, George?
Looked good, didn't it?
$1 million.
Yeah.
When $1 million meant something. Of course, it still means something to most of us. Lionetta sets up away, 1-2, and that's going to drop in front of Seth Smith. So Hundley with a base hit. And that'll bring up Luis Rodriguez. You know, this is similar again to last night. You know, I don't know what's going to happen, obviously, with Rodriguez. Last night, Corpus with a big lead ends up throwing George close to 20 pitches, gives up 3 hits and a run.
Well, you never want to get over the 25 pitch thing with a closer coming out of the bullpen. Daly was warming up down there. When they got 2 outs, they shut him down.
This is the 19th pitch. It's fouled off his foot. Drew Macias, who just was called up before yesterday's ball game, he's out in the on-deck circle if Rodriguez reaches. By the way, congratulations to the Nuggets. George, I didn't see the final. We had it on behind us. We were tuning in periodically during commercial break. They were up by like 100 points.
Well, it was 118-59, I think, last time somebody told me. Dougie said it was like 118-59. I know it was pretty ugly.
I'm being told they won by 58 points tonight, which ties a playoff record for largest win. And I guarantee the other one did not occur on the road. I mean, they won by 58 on the road.
What's the Bulls series now? Tied? 2-2, isn't it?
2-2, going back to Boston. Doc Rivers was not a happy camper after the ball game yesterday. It's going to be a struggle for them without Kevin Garnett. I think they'll get through Chicago, but Cleveland, unless something really unforeseen happens, I think it's going to be Cleveland representing the East. That's a punch down the line. Yeah, the other time there was a 58-point separation, George, in the playoffs. It was back when the Lakers played in Minneapolis, and they beat the St. Louis Hawks 133-75, 1956. Back to baseball. 0-2 with 2 outs.
2 then, I think. Yeah, a lot of balls being fouled off here. And again, that's when you're around the plate a little bit too much. Tried to throw the nasty slider there at 83. Now, the one thing that I look for from Manny, too, is a lot of times hear scouts say running away from the arm a little bit. There's Embry warming up.
And this, George, again, you know this better than anybody. You know, Allen's tossing, but now you know there's something behind it, and that is something that's charted. Jim Wright, the bullpen coach, he's charting it. You know, Embry's now up throwing.
Well, you write it down.
Yes, it's not a full day off.
No, well, that's the whole thing. I mean, you count the days that you get in the games. That's obvious, 63. But there may be another 53 you get up and warm up that you don't get in the game. I mean, that's what people forget about. How many times you warm up thinking, and then all of a sudden they said, you know what, toss until you get kind of loose, and then, you know, there's 2 outs, we got a 4-run lead, and all of a sudden they call, go get it hot. Now you got to just crank it.
And also for Corpus, his next pitch is 25. George, he was 20+ yesterday.
And obviously off tomorrow.
He's going to be off tomorrow, and he's your closer. And what if you're in a 1-run game or a 2-run game? That misses.
Yeah, Manny thought he made a pretty good pitch with a 91-mile-an-hour fastball and thought he targeted it perfectly. Fairchild thought differently. Didn't ring him up.
And Street also worked the last 2 days, so Street's innings were a little cleaner, so he may be available tomorrow. Really went an inning and a third tonight. He was very good. Down the left field line, see if Smith can get there. He will, and that is the ball game. So Manny Corpus gave up a couple of hits in the 9th inning, but he records the final 3, and the Rockies have won 2 in a row. And they won this one going away in the first matchup of the year between the Rockies and Padres, 12-7, a season high